Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 3.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to News 6 at 3 o'clock, the Tuesday edition. This is your only live newscast at this hour, bringing you up to date on all the big stories. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
My name's Matt Austin. Glad to have you with us. We're going to start with some new developments in the case of a Titusville teen who was found murdered on a cruise ship. So let's talk about this new information just coming into the newsroom here. We told you Anna Kepner's 16-year-old stepbrother is being charged as an adult for her murder. That broke yesterday. Now, federal prosecutors want that stepbrother, his name's Timothy Hudson, taken into custody. Prosecutors say Hudson is, quote, a danger to others and should be detained. Originally, a judge allowed Hudson to live at a relative's home while his case was being handled in juvenile court. This was our first look at this young man. But now that Hudson is facing adult charges, prosecutors say they'll be asking a judge to detain that 16-year-old or at least require him to post bond while he awaits trial. That decision hasn't been made just yet. And federal court can be a little tricky, but as soon as we get some new information on that, we will let you know right here on News 6.
And just to tell you the interest people have in this case, if you go to our News 6 Facebook page, clickorlando.com, or our YouTube page, people are blowing up the comments about this case. It has garnered so much attention, not just locally, but internationally.
It has gotten a lot of attention all over the globe, that's for sure. Now to some breaking news. A convicted killer may be headed to death row. In just the last hour, 12 jurors said DeMorris Hunter should be put to death. This is from a murder case from 2002.
Ultimately, though, that decision is in the judge's hand. News 6's Tylisa Hampton was in the courtroom as the judge read the jury's recommendation.
Ginger and Matt, things were tense inside that courtroom as DeMorris Hunter, he learned of his possible fate as the jury unanimously, they decided to give him that death penalty instead of life in prison without parole. So today was day 2 of the trial. Yesterday, there was witnesses. They were speaking both on the state and on the defense's side. However, today, it was mostly the defense who had witnesses that continued to speak about who they felt like Hunter was as a person, as they knew him. So they had a childhood friend that spoke, and they also had Hunter's daughter speak. And she mentioned how she loved him, even though majority of their relationship with him was behind bars. Now, we also got a chance to hear from Green, who's Teresa Green. She was one of the people who Hunter killed, and that was back in 2002. They said that he strangled her to death. We heard from Green's son yesterday in a statement that was read by the state that he mentioned that he loved his mother and that Hunter took away the light in their family. And we also heard today in the closing statement from the state side to the jurors to let them know that, yes, they heard a lot from Hunter's family and friends, but he reminded them to focus on the people that he hurt. This is what both sides had to say.
You love him?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a relationship with him?
Yeah.
Would you like to continue to have a relationship with him?
Yes.
They clearly did not know the true side of the defendant, the violent side, the side that time and time and time again chose to hurt people.
And the state, they also mentioned to the jurors that he is responsible, he being Hunter, is responsible for his own actions, and to really take those actions into consideration, which one could say that it appears that the jurors did take that since it was a unanimous decision to give that death penalty. And we do know that, with this hearing, with this recommendation, things are not over. They have the Spencer hearing in June that's happening at 9 a.m., so we'll make sure to continue to follow this. Reporting for News 6, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
Yeah, it's always a long road. It's never just cut and dry. There are so many other steps to go through before the death penalty is handed down. Tylisa, thank you. We're working to get more information about a road rage shooting that happened earlier today. It actually happened in Volusia County this morning. The Volusia Sheriff's Office says deputies were called to the intersection of State Road 415 and Osceola Tram Road, that's just northeast of Osteen. Officials say around 8 this morning, a single shot was fired, flattening a tire of the victim's vehicle. No one was hurt in this, and investigators identified a vehicle and person of interest, and they are looking into both.
Well, I'm sure some folks on one side of town saw this happening and was wondering what is going on over here. It turns out it was an armed burglary led to a big law enforcement presence on Old Winter Garden Road.
Yeah, that'll certainly get your attention. Orange County deputies tell News 6 that they didn't find anyone despite hearing gunshots in the area. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez has what we know right now.
After being called to this area for an armed burglary, deputies arrived and heard gunshots behind the business, which led to a lot of agencies out here working to find whoever fired that gun. This is what that scene looked like early Tuesday morning. The Orange County Sheriff's Office telling us around 2 a.m., deputies arrived to the business on Old Winter Garden Road and heard those shots towards the back and along the wood line nearby. That was called out over the radio, which led to that heavy law enforcement response. They worked to clear the property and the wooded area, but they didn't find any suspects. Orange County Sheriff's Office says there's no indication anyone was shot and that no shots were fired by any of the sheriff's deputies or the assisting agencies. So I spoke with the employees here at the business, which is a machine repair shop, who told me they don't believe anything was taken, but that the door was kicked in. Right now, we're told this investigation is ongoing. Of course, if we get any more details, we'll keep you up to date on air and online at clickorlando.com. Reporting in Orange County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Well, spies and coups, and we're not heading to the movies for this one. This one is playing out in real time, in real life, in an Orlando courtroom. Brazil's former intelligence chief was detained by ICE in Orlando. Now, he left the country in September after being convicted for plotting a coup with Brazil's former president to overturn the current president when he won back in 2022. Now, he was sentenced to more than 16 years in prison, but has maintained his innocence. It's unclear what led to his arrest, but a political ally claimed it was a minor traffic violation, although it has not been confirmed that that's exactly what happened. Aside from the coup, he was accused of investigating critics of the former president and providing information to help them discredit Brazil's electoral system. So drama playing out in that arena.
Right, and there's always a Florida connection.
Every time.
Even in other
Every time.
countries, it's amazing how that works. People living in Apopka will choose the direction of that city today. It's a big vote for them. They are going to decide who the next mayor is. The runoff election for the city's mayor. Today, Apopka City Commissioner Nick Nesta facing Orange County Commissioner Christine Moore. They were the top two vote getters in last month's election, beating out Apopka's current mayor, Bryant Nelson. Your Orange County community correspondent, Troy Campbell, is following that race closely all evening. He'll be filing reports with us. I interviewed Nesta and Moore last month about a bunch of topics, including growth and development, future of the downtown, and what happens if property taxes are eliminated. That's what a lot of cities are possibly going to be facing after November. You can find that whole Q&A in this article on clickorlando.com.
All right, now to Seminole County, and this is a story we really want to know what you think about it. So take out your phone, scan the QR code that's going to pop up on your screen right there, because we really want to know what you think about this next story. That QR code will take you to clickorlando.com/react, and you can weigh in, and we'll know exactly what you think. This afternoon, Seminole County commissioners unanimously passed a public smoking and vaping ban in county parks. Supporters say the measure is needed to help reduce the exposure of secondhand smoke, especially for kids. The ban also aims to cut down on litter from tobacco products like cigarette butts. That could be really bad and nasty when you see them out there. The county says they plan on adding new signs to help with implementing the new rules. So we want to know, do you think smoking should be banned in public in Florida? And here's what you're saying right now. 55% of you are saying no, keep it legal. And 43% of you say yes, smoke harms. And others want to allow in designated zones. And by others, just 1% there. That's really interesting. How do you even monitor something like that? How do you keep that,
That's
especially
a good
in
question.
public spaces?
Yeah, is somebody going to come and correct that person if they are
Take your
smoking
cigarette. Yeah,
out
that's not
in
going to be
that
good.
area? Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, Port Orange police say they are seeing something more often that you might not expect. It has to do with donuts, not the kind I like to enjoy in the mornings. It's costing people some money too. So take a look at the pictures they're showing us. Police department posting, they're seeing an ongoing issue with cars being driven off the public right-of-ways and onto private property. It's tearing up the grass, the landscaping, the infrastructure. causes deep ruts that require costly repairs. In many cases, tens of thousands of dollars. Look at those ruts right there. Officials say there's been multiple arrests, criminal charges over the last several months, and prosecutors are looking for restitution to get some payback. That includes seizing a car in a recent arrest. I think that's the one we just showed you there, that truck, and could result in the owner losing it. Port Orange police say anyone who uses their truck or car to damage public-private property could face criminal charges, arrest, restitution for damages, and you can have your nice Toyota Tacoma seized right there.
That's got a big orange boot on it too, or something.
does,
yeah.
All over donuts.
Donuts. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Well, in the days since the Artemis II crew returned to Earth, we are getting some more cool pictures and some ideas of what happened on that big journey around the moon from that mission until splashdown.
Yes. Do it. Say it. Yes! Let's go!
I mean, they sound so good and so excited. So check this out. NASA posted video of body cam from the Navy dive and medic teams who recovered the 4 astronauts from the Orion capsule after it splashed down in the Pacific Ocean. Cheers were heard all around as soon as the hatch was open, and the Navy team was the first to welcome those astronauts home.
Ike, welcome home. Christina, welcome home. Yes! Jeremy, absolutely welcome home, brother. There it is, Reed. What's up? Welcome home, brother. Thank you.
That's awesome. You heard him say, Ike, welcome home?
Yeah, what was that?
That's
Is that
Victor
his-
Glover's call name. Ike is...
Okay, I was wondering why
They
he
all
called
have
him that.
different names.
I was like, does he not know his
They
name?
say, I know everything, is what that stands for.
Everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's the guy you want to pilot.
He's confident.
yeah, so he does know everything, and I don't mind, not at all.
Good stuff. All right, well, thieves strike 3 times, and a Little League baseball group thought they were out until a nice, generous donor came along. A little surprised by how this all went down, but let's take you through it. Maitland Little League told us somebody broke into their concession stand 3 times in one weekend. Whenever they restocked, the thieves came back for more, which really hurt what is the main way that the league makes money. The Orlando Dreamers caught wind of this. They recently signed on as a sponsor for the league. The Dreamers sent us this video here. So they went shopping to restock the entire snack stand. I hope they bought them a new lock. Because
Something.
we have a problem here if you've been hit 3 times. Maitland police tell us they weren't able to get any usable fingerprints from the break-ins. They're asking anyone with info to come forward. If you know anything, you should call Crime Line 800-423-TIPS. Number is on your screen right there. And if you steal from Little League baseball,
What's wrong with you?
just tell you. You
And
got, you got
3
real
times.
problems.
I know. I mean, we're saying, oh, you should lock it up, but I mean, really?
Yeah.
Just don't take it.
Don't be sleazy.
There, that's your lecture for today. Don't be sleazy.
Thanks, Mom.
All right, so we're staying on top of a hit and run in Marion County that sent a number of kids to the hospital.
Plus a Central Florida competition that could land you a big payday. That's all coming up.
I'm News 6's Alex Cook. It was here on 145th Street Southeast in Marion County where the school bus was stopped to pick up students in the morning. The pickup truck came along behind it, hit the back of the bus, and then took off. Now, investigators are asking for help tracking down that driver. Florida Highway Patrol says it happened just after 8:20 Monday morning near Southeast 38th Terrace in Marion County. Troopers say 54 high school students were on board the bus, which was headed to Bellevue High School. Troopers initially said that 5 students were taken to the hospital, but the school district then told us that 9 students in total were taken for treatment for bumps and bruises. Damage to the bus appears to be limited, but in this photo provided by the school district, you can see the tailpipe bent down at the rear, right where troopers say the truck hit the bus. This is where that school bus was heading, Bellevue High School. But for some students, the school day began at the hospital. Troopers say they're looking for an average-sized pickup with a white, blue, and orange color scheme. Monday night, investigators are hoping that someone might have seen that truck after the crash, and anyone with information is asked to contact FHP. In Marion County, Alex Cook, News 6.
Hopefully somebody saw something. Well, the last thing a lot of people want to think about right now, upcoming elections, but that's just the reality. But what if there was another group of candidates you could actually choose from?
That's right, and there's a social media challenge going on right now that could pay you big bucks if you come up with a great name for a new political party. Our social media sleuth DJ has more on that.
All right, who wants $100,000? All you got to do is come up with a name for a new political party. Everyone knows this guy, right? The billionaire attorney, John Morgan. Well, he announced on Monday he's not going to be running for Florida governor. Instead, he's going to be creating a new political party, and he wants your help naming it. His posts on social media have been seen thousands of times and have tons of comments. The announcement comes in the form of this long video statement.
So my decision is this: I am not going to run for governor of Florida, but I do believe this, that most of us agree on most things. I believe what's missing in Florida and across the country is a third party. I'm going to have a contest for you all to name it. I'm going to pay the winner of the contest $100,000.
Yeah, so Morgan says he's going to be filing the paperwork here in the coming days. But if you want to see more of his video or learn more about this $100,000 challenge, just go to the article at clickorlando.com. And while you're there, leave us a comment. What would you name the party?
Okay, what are the ground rules? Can you use AI? Can you use ChatGPT?
This is John Morgan. There are no ground rules.
That's true.
You can use
That's
whatever
true.
you want, I'm
I
sure.
mean, what would you come up with? Not that I'm going to steal it and submit it.
Like I would give it to you. I'm going to go collect my $100,000. No, interesting that he started off the video. He sucked everybody in by saying, seeming like he was going to make a governor announcement. And we have asked him about that years ago.
No, he's
I
not
don't think
gonna
he's
do
ever going to run for governor. And
He
part
says
of
the
what
mansion's not
he
good
said,
enough.
I can't live in that governor's mansion. Have you
He
seen
used
that
some choice
place?
words for it, too.
It's not his normal
Yeah.
kind of mansion.
No, it is not. So I'd love to hear what you think about that, and we'll submit our own answers. Maybe. We'll see. Well, how new developments in the Middle East are impacting gas and oil prices.
And some very last-minute tax tips that we'll tell you about if you haven't filed yet, which hopefully you have after the break.
I'm News 6 anchor Louis Bolden. The deadline to file your taxes is quickly approaching, and all eyes on oil prices as the U.S. blockade on the Strait of Hormuz continues. Let's get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. And Maribel, of course, those oil prices impact what we pay at the pump.
They sure do, Louis. So oil and gas prices held relatively steady overnight on news there could be renewed U.S.-Iran peace talks. Global and U.S. crude are hovering between $95 and $100 a barrel this morning. Prices jumped above that range yesterday after the first attempt to broker a deal failed over the weekend. AAA puts the national average for a gallon of unleaded at $4.12, mostly unchanged from yesterday. And sources tell CNN that the administration aims to resume talks before the current ceasefire expires April 21st. Louis.
Everyone is watching. And the IRS is reminding filers about a new rule when it comes to tips.
So we know that the income tax filing deadline is tomorrow, Louis, right? And the IRS has put out additional no tax on tips guidance. So more than 70 occupations qualify, including hospitality workers, delivery drivers, and personal services like hairstylists. Here's the thing. Tips must be voluntary. Note that automatic gratuities don't count. Managers who share in pooled tips can't take the deduction. Policy researchers at Yale say more than a third of tip earners may not qualify for the benefit. Individuals and couples who earn less than the standard deductions aren't required to file federally. For those who do file, tips are capped at $25,000. Full details are on the IRS's website, Louis.
Okay, so a few caveats there. Maribel, thank you. And remember, for the latest money and consumer news anytime, just head to clickorlando.com.
Well, an extremely popular clothing brand is in a little trouble, possibly, over some chemicals that they're putting inside their clothes.
Oh, that's a good talker. And also, coming up on the news at 4 o'clock, parents in one school district are heated after learning their kids won't be allowed to travel for competitions, even though they're paying their own way.
Coming up in the morning, keeping you safe at the airport. New steps being taken to make sure your next flight is both safe and smooth.
And an update to the plans to expand a major highway. We'll tell you when you could see a few more lanes.
Join us for News 6 Morning, starting at 6.
Welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock. A back and forth over growth between two counties, and this all has to do with McCullough Road, which is right near UCF.
Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, has been looking into this. And Kat, some of those county officials say they were kept in the dark during this process.
Yeah, that changed today. Seminole County had sent a letter to Orange County asking them for greater detail about their plans to widen McCullough Road. So McCullough Road is right next to me. I'm standing close to the intersection of McCullough and Lockwood Boulevard. This is the start of where Orange County wants to widen McCullough. It's about a 1 mile stretch down to North Tanner Road. Now, Seminole County wants input on this project because part of this road is in their control. So we were at the commission meeting earlier today where Orange County staff gave a presentation on their plans. Both counties could benefit from this. UCF Stadium is nearby. Imagine sporting events. There are several subdivisions that have been built over the years. This whole area is expected to keep growing, which means the road will need to accommodate more traffic. But people in both counties are also concerned because this is an environmentally sensitive area. We are not far from the Econ River, the rural boundary, and there are concerns about transportation projects like this one being a gateway for growth and unchecked development. We're going to break it all down in greater detail and share how both counties are working to get on the same page coming up on News 6 at 5. For now, I'm live on the Orange and Seminole County line. Catherine Silver, News 6.
We know folks can get fired up about those roads. Kat Silver live for us in Seminole County. Thank you very much. Well, a man has died after being pulled from a house fire. This one took place in Winter Springs yesterday.
News 6's Troy Campbell spoke to some neighbors.
Coming home from the store, and I saw like 5 fire trucks. I thought, what in the world? Really speeding down. And then I saw the ambulances.
Linda Hayes says she was driving home from Publix just after 5 p.m. Monday when she heard the sirens. Her husband was already at home.
I was watching, I had Channel 6 News on, as a matter of fact. We could hear him coming up.
The Seminole County Fire Department says their crews were called to the home on the 1400 block of Tanner Lane just after 5 p.m. with reports of at least one person trapped inside.
The neighbors said that there was possibly 2 people inside. We did search the structure. We found one, and we have confirmed that there was no one else inside of the structure.
Seminole County Fire Chief Matt Kinley says his firefighters discovered a man inside suffering from severe burns and transported him to Oviedo Medical Center.
The Seminole County Fire Department says it's simply too narrow down Forest Hills Drive right here, so instead they had us meet them right across at the Community Neighborhood Center to receive an update so their crews could safely get in and out of the scene.
It's a very tight area. It's your typical neighborhood with just very tight with homes. We have a lot of hose on the ground. A lot of apparatus still moving around.
Chief Kinley also says the home was overcluttered with stuff, making it much more difficult to put out the fire.
Our crews did encounter what we would call hoarding conditions, just a lot of stuff on the inside. Makes it a lot harder to maneuver, to put the fire out, and to search for victims.
Neighbor Brenda Foulman says she's thankful crews were able to prevent the fire from spreading.
Those homes over there are just really close to each other, so if something happens to one, it's very likely it could happen to another.
And that raised a lot of concerns. A lot of people were talking about this afternoon.
Yes, and I have some friends that live over there.
In Winter Springs, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Well, some Florida high school students are going to be spending time, possibly, in some brand new advanced placement courses. The state is creating what they call their own alternative AP classes. One of them has to do with American history. So last week, the Department of Education said the agency will begin a pilot program for additional accelerated U.S. history classes for high school students to earn college credit for Florida public universities. Full statewide implementation is scheduled for the 2027-28 school year. The move is part of a 2023 law authorizing DOE to add these advanced courses. And it comes after Governor Ron DeSantis pushed against the College Board, which runs the AP program and related college-level courses. Ray Rodriguez is the chancellor of the state university system. Here he is.
Accountability has led to a system where we are hyper-focused on the success of our students.
So U.S. history is the second subject in the Florida Advanced Course and Test, or what they call the FACT program. Last year, the DOE initiated a statewide pilot for college algebra. Like AP exams, FACT will allow students to earn college credit after getting a minimum score on a post-secondary credit assessment, and that'll be identified by the DOE. But always interesting when your kids will be taking different classes or new or added AP classes when it comes to high school.
All right, turning now to your wardrobe, not in a judgy way, but something you might be wearing could be causing you some harm. A new investigation into Lululemon is looking into claims its yoga pants and other products may contain toxic chemicals.
Right, the Texas Attorney General says this probe is going to look and find out if the company is still using these PFAS, as they're known. CBS's Kelly O'Grady explains that Lululemon says, we stopped doing this years ago.
They're a pioneer in activewear with a focus on wellness. But now Lululemon is at the center of a state investigation into the use of so-called forever chemicals. In a statement released Monday, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said his office is reviewing whether the company misled customers about the health impacts of its products, saying, quote, emerging research and consumer concerns has raised questions about the potential presence of PFAS in their clothing. PFAS have historically been used in a wide variety of textiles to make them water and stain resistant. But like their nickname suggests, forever chemicals can linger in the environment for hundreds or even thousands of years. And studies have linked them with possible adverse health effects in humans, including increased risk of certain kinds of cancers. In a statement, Lululemon said it had previously used PFAS in its durable water repellent products, but the company says it phased out use of the chemicals 3 years ago. That's part of a wider trend among big clothing brands, says Arlene Bloom, a research scientist at Berkeley who studies PFAS.
They're chemicals you don't want to use on anything unless you absolutely need them. But that doesn't mean you wear PFAS clothing and you get sick. It means that you get some exposure, which adds to all kinds of other exposures you get from, air pollution and food that might be problematic. So we're all exposed to some toxic chemicals, and we want to minimize that across the population.
Al Bloom says a major reason clothing brands began abandoning PFAS was because of 2 state laws that went into effect in California and New York last year, banning the sale of clothing containing forever chemicals. Kelly O'Grady, CBS News, New York.
You still got to check, because if they stopped using them years ago, they last a long time. So you still could be wearing something that has some of those chemicals in it.
I thought I just wasn't supposed to eat them. I can't touch them.
Don't eat the yoga mats, all that stuff.
I don't know what's happening.
All right, so heading out of Central Florida for a moment, as fire crews in Collier County continue to fight what is a pretty substantial size fire. So take a look. This is video showing the thick smoke brought on by that fire. That's pretty impressive there. The fire was in the Picayune Strand State Forest, although the smoke was sent over to Naples. That's about 10 miles to the west. Homes in the area were evacuated. And look at this. The smoke was so thick, that little dot in the middle of the screen, it almost blotted out the sun. As of last check, the fire was about 1,500 acres and 15% contained. There are 4 fires burning in Central Florida right now. One is not fully contained. That one's in northern Lake County. That fire is 10 acres, but about 80% contained.
It has been a dry time here in Florida.
And no relief in sight, it looks like.
We are ready for that wet season. Yeah, we have a week of dryness ahead, that's for sure. President Trump has been pretty vocal about wanting to shut down FEMA, but recently he's been having to answer questions, not really about the agency itself, but about the people who are leading it. The story might get a little weird for you, okay? Let me take you along for the ride. In case you didn't pass by your desk, Greg Phillips is the head of FEMA's Office of Response and Recovery. He recently made headlines saying he once teleported to a Waffle House.
Of all places.
Man, wish I could teleport to a Waffle House right now. He also said he once collapsed at a Lowe's, came to at a McDonald's, and he had 15,000
He's
steps
got a problem with fast food
on his health app. Honey, I don't know how I got there. President Trump was asked about it. He said he thought it was a joke, and the story sounded strange. He doesn't know anything about teleportation or Phillips. A White House official previously said the administration asked the Department of Homeland Security to keep Phillips out of the public spotlight for reasons such as
if I'm going to teleport, I want to wake up inside like a Loomis armored truck. I don't. Something I can
Send
really
me to the,
use.
Send me to the Louvre, not the Waffle House or Mickey D's.
That's bad. All right, well, officers on the Gulf Coast got a surprise when they were just wrapping up their day doing what they do. So take a look. Bradenton police say this little fella
Oh my gosh.
popped up as officers were rinsing their boat after going on patrol. Officials say they waited for her to clear out before they docked. But you can see that they're using the hose to clean the boat, and this manatee just wants a fresh drink of water. It's like, this is delicious. What vintage year is this?
Right.
They also said it's an important reminder that while manatees love fresh water, giving it to them makes them associate people with boats, which puts them in danger. So that's their kind way of saying, don't do that.
I mean, it's a good message because obviously we want manatees to avoid those boat propellers
but those
at all
guys,
costs.
they were paying close attention.
But
they know what they were
man, that's some cute video,
really is
though.
adorable.
And we have some more cute video for you. Back in Central Florida, crews got pretty creative to rescue a little duckling. Let's take you to that now. Indian Harbor Beach. Firefighters called to the Scrambled Egg Cafe around 8 this morning. People there saw a duck running around a storm drain. It was a mama. She was upset. Apparently, a duckling fell through the grate and was stuck 5 to 6 feet down, and then started to wander through the pipes. Well, we just gave away what happened in the end. Firefighters flowed water through the entry drain to push the little one into a net downstream. Firefighters quickly reunited the duckling with the mom, who was anxiously awaiting its return. Good
I love
job,
that they
guys.
took the time to do that. Yeah, very important. All right, now as far as animal rescues go, ducklings in a storm drain, that's pretty common. We hear about those
Sure.
pretty often.
Mhm.
But firefighters in Michigan got a much more head-scratching call for help. Neighbors in Detroit called the fire department after seeing a puppy. Do you see it right there?
What in the world?
Somebody didn't get their Christmas gift. Santa dropped him down the chimney, I guess. I don't know. That was a puppy on top of a chimney at an abandoned home. How he got up there, we do not know, but we just know he's cute. Firefighters got a ladder on the roof and made their way up to help the little guy. They were able to bring him down safely and nicknamed him Stack. Stack was taken to the local Humane Society. We're told he's gaining weight and will soon be up for adoption. That is the craziest story.
I'll
How
tell you
did he
what,
get up
whoever
there?
adopts that dog is going to have a fun time keeping him in the house, huh? Little Stack is going to be an escape artist. I
Yeah,
know
he
it.
really is.
All right, we have a look at your forecast with Jonathan Kegas coming up after the break.
Plus, who researchers say is owning more and more homes in Florida, and what that may say about our economy as a whole when we come back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Bill Ray Nissan Longwood. We do it the right way.
Let's take a live look out at Daytona Beach. Who are all of you people out here on the beach on a Tuesday enjoying this gorgeous weather?
Must not be from around here.
Any clouds? Yeah, they must be vacationing. Meteorologist Jonathan Keg is joining me now inside the studio. And so we're looking at a pretty dry,
I think so,
foreseeable future?
Foreseeable. I mean, like next 7 to 10 days on the drier side. There's a lot more scenes like that, I think, coming up over the next 7 to 10 days. Not only that, but we're also going to crank up the thermostat going forward. All of the active weather is back where you see the fronts. So the warm front back to the west and the red there, the jaggedy alligator looking thing near Chicago, that's the cold front. All of that is going to hang out there. So I want to put this rainfall forecast model into motion for you. And you see it going day by day by day. We're back to Wednesday, the 22nd, Thursday, the 23rd, 10 days out, Friday, April 24th. You see all the colors either to our south or well towards our north and west. And this is exactly the type of pattern that we're in, big chunk of high pressure overhead. So you wouldn't expect anything, but I just wanted to show this to you graphically to show that all of the moisture over the next 10 days is either staying well towards our northwest or just to the south. Now, obviously, you don't need me to tell you we need rain. The big winners of last week in terms of the rainfall was right along the Space Coast. Melbourne was the only one in green here, 1.18 inches above normal for the year. Everybody else is significantly below 4.5 inches, even more so than that in Orlando, about 4.5 inches in Daytona Beach, about 3.5 inches below in Leesburg. This is the kind of, I always call it like watching the paint dry graphic. There's a lot of numbers on here, but it tells the story. It is a tough one. But the one things I want you to pay attention to, again, it helps tell the story, is the number 500. That's when counties enact burn bans typically. So you want to stay as far below 500 as you want to.
So Marion's getting pretty close.
Marion's getting pretty close again. Lake, we had some rain last week, but we're already taking the climb. Same for us in Sumter. The blue counties, the blue colors, 278 in Flagler, 246 in Brevard. That's where we were able to take a nice chunk out. Still, though, that changed nothing with the drought outlook that we get every Thursday from the Department of Agriculture. That stayed the same. Again, you talked about this, Matt, in your story out in Lake County, but the water tables just being, we need to fill those up. So even with that rain, we need to be sustained. We need the wet season to get here. That's something that typically doesn't arrive until late May, early June, so we're still about 5-6 weeks away. We'll talk about the 7-day forecast coming up at 4 o'clock.
You can track all of that with our weather app.
Download it for free. News 6, search WKMG in your app store.
Sounds good. Well, there's a major shift in the U.S. housing market as to who is buying up all the land and who's owning it. And apparently this is really impacting Florida. Our sister station, WJXT, was reporting on this with reporter Tiffany Salome.
Would you mind sharing how much you paid for your first home?
I think it was like $75,000.
$15,000 in 1960.
I want to say maybe $250,000.
We paid $36,000.
$35,000 for 3 acres.
That's incredible. Wow. How much did you pay for your first home? The answer to that question depends on how old you are, because for the first time ever, older Americans own more real estate wealth than ever before. So it shouldn't be a shock to you that the older generations are controlling the real estate market.
They're absolutely in control at the moment currently.
That's John Brooks. He's a real estate market analyst. We asked him about these numbers specific to Florida, where we know there are lots of retirees.
It's way more concentrated in Florida. About 22 to 23% of Floridians are over the age of 62. And most of them own multiple properties. The median age of a home buyer right now, according to different studies, the National Association of Realtors put one out, is about 40 years old for a first-time home buyer. That's about a decade later that people are purchasing their house than they were in the past. It's up from 28 years back in the 70s. And we're seeing repeat buyers at the age 60. And so everything is shifting because of this affordability. It's just taking longer for people to get into the marketplace.
Americans 70 and older hold more than $12.5 trillion in real estate wealth. It's the first time ever baby boomers held a larger share of the nation's real estate than those ages 40 to 54, according to a new Redfin report. Meanwhile, younger generations battling rising home prices and mortgage rates have seen their portion of the real estate pie shrink or stay the same.
Do you think it tells us that the younger generation just isn't in a position to buy real estate?
Yeah, the younger generations are completely loaded up with debt. They're really struggling. A lot of their money, up to 40% of their money, is going to either rent or their housing payment. There's the rule of 28 that says it should be around 28%. So from a historical standpoint, they're spending a lot more money on their shelter costs than they probably should. Now, this takes away from their ability to be able to purchase. And the more that they delay their home ownership, the harder it is for them to build equity down the line.
The houses now on that street are in the 5s and the 6s.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Would have been a great investment to make if I was alive.
I know, right?
If only we had all purchased a home at birth.
Okay.
Or multiple properties.
That would have been nice.
You know,
Right?
but it's
Yeah.
so important because then it's something, that's why they say real estate is so important to have in your family, to keep it in your family, to pass it down in your family.
Yeah.
Because then your kids won't be in debt.
When you look at the price that some homes were going for
Oh my
back in the
gosh.
80s,
Mhm.
90s, or
Yeah.
before,
I paid $12,000 for this house. Yeah,
it's now
crazy.
$2 million or more.
Yeah, exactly.
$7
Yeah.
mortgage.
Right, that's crazy. All right. Well, I know you guys follow this closely. We're talking about prediction markets. They have exploded in popularity in recent years, but they're not always the easiest to understand if you have participated in any of those.
Okay, I did once. I do not understand it. I will never do it again. So I'm going to pay close attention to the story we have coming up. We're breaking it down how it works after the break. Stay with us.
At first glance, prediction markets may sound like gambling, but they're not. They're more like a stock market for real-world events. Let's start with the most popular predictions market platform, Kalshi. On Kalshi, people are not placing traditional bets. Instead, they're buying and selling contracts based on whether something will or won't happen. For example, a question might be, will a major hurricane hit Florida this year, or will a certain team win a certain game? Each contract has two sides, yes or no, and contracts are priced between $0 and $1. That price represents the market's best guess at the probability of an event happening. So, if a contract is trading at 70 cents, the market is essentially saying there's a 70% chance it will happen. The flip side, the 30% chance that it won't happen, trades at 30 cents. If you buy in and you're right, you get $1. If you're wrong, you get nothing. And another difference from sports betting, you don't have to wait for the final result. As a platform markets trader, you can sell your position at any time before the event is decided. It's just like trading a stock, which means you can lock in profits or cut losses early. Another big difference, you're not betting against the house, you're trading against other people, and the prices are set by the market, not a bookmaker. Kalshi and other prediction market platforms like Polymarket and Predictit are regulated at the federal level by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the same type of regulator that oversees financial markets. They are not regulated by state gambling agencies. Still, the line between prediction markets and sports betting is blurring. As these platforms expand into sports, some critics argue they're essentially offering betting under a different name. Supporters respond, saying they're providing a new way to forecast events and manage risk. In the end, it comes down to this. Prediction markets turn future events into tradable assets where the crowd, not the house, sets the odds. For Dollars and Cents, I'm Donovan Myrie.
It's a little complicated.
It is complicated.
Yeah.
I tried it so I could understand how it worked.
Yes.
I failed.
And you lost some money.
Yeah. News 6 at 4 is coming up next.
Yeah, coming up, we're going to be talking about a serial killer in California who's already spending life in prison, now facing the death penalty here in Florida for a crime in Orange County. We'll have that coming up for you after the break.
A Brevard County teen found murdered on a Carnival cruise ship. Now her stepbrother is charged. But why isn't he behind bars? I have the answer.
And I'm News 6's Tylisa Hampton in Orlando, where today DeMaurice Hunter, the jury found that he be recommended for the death penalty over life in prison without parole. I'll share more details coming up.
Divers from Melbourne Police recover a man's body from the water on that side of the 192 causeway.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
We begin with breaking news out of Polk County. The sheriff's office saying they found a missing teenager from Orange County hiding in a sex offender's closet.
So here's who we're talking about. This is 30-year-old Alexis Diaz Toledo. He's arrested Monday at his home in Dundee. We're told detectives showed up at Diaz Toledo's home yesterday. And they say he initially told them he had not seen the 17-year-old in a couple of days and then refused to let detectives search his home. Detectives eventually got in his home and found that teen in the bedroom closet. Diaz Toledo is facing a list of charges, including failing to comply with sex offender registration requirements and interfering with the custody of a minor. He has been a registered sex offender since he was convicted in 2014 for lewd and lascivious battery on a child between 12 and 15 years old.
New details in the case of a Brevard County teenager found murdered on a Carnival cruise ship.
Anna Kepner's stepbrother is now charged, but he is still not in jail. Now the Justice Department is asking a judge to clear the way so the 16-year-old can be put behind bars and tried as an adult.
News 6's Jana Manahalal is live in the newsroom for us. And Jana, you've spent your afternoon going through this most recent court filing, and there's one important thing that needs to happen before he can be arrested on these adult charges.
That's right, Lisa. An order to allow Hudson to be released to family was issued back in February while he was under the Juvenile Delinquency Act. But now, because Hudson is being charged as an adult for first-degree murder and attempted sexual assault, the court says the original order of release no longer applies. We told you Monday that Timothy Hudson, who was a defendant in this case, is now officially being charged as an adult after a grand jury indicted him on March 10th, moving his case from a juvenile to adult case. Once a juvenile's matter is transferred to adult status, the case is now subject to all provisions and punishments that would apply to any adult facing similar charges, including detainment. On April 8th, a magistrate judge found that all documents were filed correctly for this case to move from juvenile under the Juvenile Delinquency Act to adult prosecution under the Bail Reform Act. Because of that, the court decided to request a review and revocation of the original release order. But let's go back to February 6th really quick. Hudson had a detention hearing while the case was still under juvenile proceedings. During that hearing, the government requested Hudson be detained for dangerousness. Magistrate Judge Torres found probable cause for the alleged charges, but then denied the government's request for detention and instead issued a release order for Hudson to stay with his family, specifically his uncle in Hernando County. The U.S. Attorney's Office filing requests Hudson be detained, stating it would be sufficient to prevent the defendant from being a danger to others. Now, that was a lot, but what happens now? Well, Hudson's attorneys have until April 20th to respond to this. As I just mentioned, the court is asking for Hudson to be detained, but the documents do go on to say that release with bond could be an option. If Hudson is detained, prosecutors have not specified where he will be held, whether it is in a juvenile detention facility or an adult facility. Live in the newsroom, I'm Jana Manahalal, News 6.
All right, Jana, thank you. Well, a convicted serial killer from California could be executed here in Florida this afternoon. An Orange County jury recommended the death penalty for DeMaurice Hunter.
Yeah, he murdered a woman in College Park. This happened back in 2002. Your Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton joins us now live. And Tylisa, you were in the courtroom. What was the reaction?
Well, Ginger and Lisa, things were very tense in that courtroom when the jury, when they did recommend the death penalty for DeMaurice Hunter and the killing of Teresa Green back in 2002. You could almost hear a pin drop in that courtroom. It was so silent. I looked at Hunter as the judge was reading that recommendation by the jury. He immediately looked at the jury. He had glasses on, and we couldn't quite see his facial expression, but you can see that he was looking around in that courtroom. And we also heard from Hunter's daughter before the jury handed down that recommendation. She was asking for him to live. She was asking for that life without the possibility of parole, which was that other option that the jury had. However, they decided to go with this death penalty. And just to back things up regarding Hunter's criminal history, that dates back to 1985, which prosecutors made a note to mention his criminal history, mention the fact that he had already been convicted of 2 previous killings of 2 other people in California before he came to Florida and then eventually killed Teresa Green, which we heard from Green's son yesterday in a written statement where he said that Hunter took away the light of his family. So there was a lot of back and forth from the prosecutors and the defense, and you'll hear from Hunter's daughter and then from the prosecutors in this sound.
You love him?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a relationship with him?
Yeah.
Would you like to continue to have a relationship with him?
Yes.
They clearly did not know the true side of the defendant, the violent side, the side that time and time and time again chose to hurt people.
Now, a lot of the defense's witnesses, they were Hunter's family and friends who spoke today and yesterday. So many of them mentioning that they did not see this aggressive side of Hunter and that he was loving and caring to them. However, you just heard from the prosecutors, and they mentioned it in a lengthier mention in the courtroom, that they wanted the jurors to focus on not who they thought he was, but his actions and what he did to those victims. And obviously, you could say that that unanimous vote by the 12 jurors, it seems like they did take into account those actions as they made this decision to give Hunter the death penalty. Reporting in Orlando, I'm Talisa Hampton, and we should also mention that it's not over quite yet. There's this sentencing that happens in June 1st that we know that will come up for Hunter after this.
All right, Tylisa Hampton reporting live for us. Tylisa, thank you. All right, we're taking a closer look at DeMaurice Hunter's past. He is convicted of killing 3 people, including Teresa Green in Florida. When he was 18 years old, Hunter killed 18-year-old Cesar Guzman in January of 1985. That next month, he shot 2 other people. They both survived, but one of them was left a paraplegic and died in 1986. Hunter was sentenced to 24 years in prison before his release on parole in 1997. Then 5 years later, in 2002, investigators say he killed 41-year-old Ivora Huntley in California. At the time, he was assaulting his girlfriend when Huntley tried to stop him. After that, he ran away to Orlando and killed his neighbor, Teresa Green. Hunter was eventually arrested and charged with the murder in California, where he was sentenced to 110 years to life.
Now to a disturbing discovery in the Indian River Lagoon. Police say they pulled a body out of the river this morning on the north side of the Melbourne Causeway near downtown Melbourne. Your Melbourne community correspondent James Sparvero tells us what we know so far.
Divers from Melbourne Police recover a man's body from the water on that side of the 192 Causeway.
I noticed a police vehicle and a CSI van. Suspicious activity.
Andre Walls told me he was driving over the bridge Tuesday morning when he saw the officers who found the man's body in the shallow water near the rock barrier on the north side. Police say the first person to see the body floating called 911 around 8. Something pretty shocking to hear?
Yeah, shocking for the city of Melbourne and this area right here.
Police haven't said if the man was homeless, but they did say he had a campsite here along the river. They know his name, but they're not telling us because they still have to tell his family first. They say it looks like right now that no one harmed this man, so it's not a criminal investigation. But the investigation is still open and active. So whatever new information we learn, we'll tell you right here on News 6 and clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Melbourne community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
People in Apopka have just a few more hours to head to the polls and decide who will be the next mayor in a runoff race. Whoever wins will be replacing current mayor Brian Nelson. Orange County Commissioner Christine Moore and City Commissioner Nick Nesta are fighting for the seat. They were the two top vote getters in a three-way election last month. Two voting precincts are open until 7 p.m., one at the Apopka Community Center, another at the Northwest Recreation Center. News 6 anchor Matt Austin recently teamed up with the Orlando Sentinel to ask the candidates about their plans for the city, specifically a big issue a lot of people care about here in Central Florida, growth.
A lot of developers are now looking at Apopka because at one time it was very affordable to buy land and develop. What we have to do moving forward now is prioritizing smart growth, one that prioritizes its resident-focused growth, one that doesn't sacrifice our current residents just for the new ones. We need to look at our infrastructure and create a true plan of what that looks like, not an afterthought.
As far as roads, it's difficult. Impact fees never pay the whole thing. The community has not been supportive of the county's initiatives to try to get funding, additional funding, and their board doesn't fund enough into infrastructure. Now, I struggle with this at the county. I'm always the first one to say put more money into public works. So it is a challenge, yes, but there are lots of little tweaks that I believe could have been done to slow the growth in Apopka and make it a more family-friendly environment.
Now you can see their full discussion in this story at clickorlando.com. Again, the polls close tonight at 7 p.m.
A change is coming to some Central Florida parks.
Yeah, we'll have the push to ban smoking coming up.
I'm Mark Lehman in Seminole County, where the school district is considering an out-of-state travel ban because of budget constraints. We're hearing from parents after an upcoming tournament was denied.
Passing clouds out there on the warmer side, but comfortably warm. We are going to crank up the thermostat over the next few days and especially into your weekend. I'm going to have that part of your forecast coming up about 4:17.
You're watching News 6 at 4 as we take a live look at our camera in Daytona Beach. Looking pretty nice out there right now. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by True Deals Realty.
Budget constraints could be leading to an out-of-state travel ban for students. I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, and this is happening after the district denied an upcoming tournament for a state champion volleyball team. We're hearing concerns from parents and the district's response.
Coming off a state championship, Oviedo's volleyball team was planning on going to a tournament in Hawaii for the fall. Seminole County Public Schools, however, canceled the travel request.
Certain members of the volleyball team were made aware that travel was going to be curtailed this past week.
The move catching parents by surprise. They're also not getting many answers.
The one reason we were given is due to budgetary constraints. Going forward in 2027 school year, they would not be approving any out-of-state travel.
Players, however, have already raised money for the trip, meaning there would be no cost to the school.
So there's no financial impact to the county, to the taxpayer. It's covered entirely by fundraising.
The decision has parents questioning if the district is changing policy to no longer allow out-of-state travel, which could have widespread implications.
It's got a pretty big impact on the entire county. I mean, this will affect clubs, it will affect sports.
For the team, it could mean lost recruiting and an impact on rankings. It's why there's a push for leaders to reconsider.
But there's so much more in school than just in the classroom. So everybody's looking for opportunities to give them exposure to just life in general.
As the district is navigating financial challenges, a spokesperson put out a statement saying in part, out-of-state travel and activities for students and staff will undergo a thorough review and consideration to ensure responsible use of resources while still supporting meaningful opportunities for a robust and enriching educational experience. Parents we spoke with, meanwhile, say they plan to take their concerns directly to the school board, and that will happen during today's meeting at 5:30. In Sanford, I'm your Seminole County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, we're going to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. Temperature's pleasant now, but we are expecting some pretty almost hot conditions by the end of the week. Yeah.
End of the week, we have our 90s coming back. We've had 3 90-degree days so far this season. We had that little flirtation with summer earlier in the month. Nonetheless, we have it coming back in a big way as we get towards the weekend. We've had a decent amount of clouds out there sliding in off of the Atlantic. These will continue again tomorrow, and I think gradually once we get towards tomorrow afternoon and then especially Thursday into Friday, we'll lose the cloud cover a little bit and see more dominant sunshine, and that will really continue into the weekend. Mount Dora, good evening. We are at 83. New Smyrna, we're at 79 right now. Bushnell, we're at 84, 85 degrees for us in Denellen. Satellite and radar showing us something that we're going to see a lot of over the next couple of days. All the active weather staying well towards our west. Big time storm system getting ready to ramp up towards the Great Lakes and into parts of the upper Midwest. We are still under the influence of that area of high pressure, and that is why we had those extra clouds today, with that high pressure just kind of spinning right off the Carolina coastline. That's been inducing that easterly breeze that has kept enough moisture anyway to get the clouds rolling. And we'll keep that east wind tomorrow. Air temperature is going to stay pretty much right where they were at today, back to the mid 70s, with that breeze parallel, or perpendicular, I should say, right on into the shoreline. We will continue to keep that rip current risk very high, so the red flag likely going to be flying over the next couple of days. Leesburg, we are at 61. Holopaw, tomorrow we're starting things off in the upper 50s. Warmer across the Space Coast tomorrow, back to around 70. We'll start things off in Bushnell at 58 degrees. Tomorrow, same ballpark as today. We're back into the mid-80s in Orlando. 88, though, in Wildwood. We'll see a little more sunshine. Further away from the Atlantic, we're at 88 in Bushnell, back to around 80 degrees again. Into Daytona Beach, Melbourne, we'll be right around 79. I think we'll see a little more sunshine coming in our direction. As you will see, we're going to be entering a pretty extended dry stretch. We've been talking about this for the last few days. That means the allergens go back up again. Pollen forecast going to be extremely high over the next couple of days, really through the weekend, and there's no real shot for any rain to help get rid of this, or any kind of wind for that matter, to kind of change the air masses up. There's 5 to 6 o'clock on your Tuesday evenings where we stand right now, and we will keep a few of those clouds. These are mainly those puffy heating of the day clouds that come through. So as we lose the sunshine, as we lose the heating of the day, we're going to clear things out pretty considerably overnight and through the rest of your evening. There's 9 o'clock on your Wednesday evening. We'll start to shift the wind a little bit to more of a southeasterly component. That will keep clouds, at least some clouds, right along the coastline, and they will move up and down the coastline rather than kind of inland off of the Atlantic. So here comes that warm up. 87 degrees on Thursday. We're hanging around 90 on Friday. Lower 90s over the weekend. This isn't the end-all, be-all yet to the cooler weather. We still have another cold front out there. We're back to the upper 70s, guys, by Tuesday.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
A big change could be coming to a Central Florida road known for bottleneck traffic.
Horrible, horrible.
It's just been getting worse. Every year it just get worse. More people live here, more traffic.
The plan to add extra lanes and what it could mean for your commute. That's next. A live look now at downtown Orlando. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Some changes are coming to parks in Seminole County. Smoking will no longer be allowed.
County commissioners unanimously approved the ban during today's meeting. Supporters say the ban is needed so kids aren't exposed to secondhand smoke. The ban also wants to cut down on litter from tobacco products like cigarette butts. We've spoken to a few people about this to see what they think.
I think it's appropriate. The county parks are meant to serve families, and families have children, some teenagers, but some also very young as well. And there's tons of research about secondhand smoke. I think it's appropriate.
All right, so here's the question. How do you enforce it? We asked leaders. They said that there will be signage. And here's where you come in. Open your camera app, scan the QR code you see right now on your screen, and click the link. It will take you to our poll. We want to know, do you think smoking should be banned in public in Florida? You can select yes, no, allow it in designated zones, or ask how to enforce it. And right now, what's winning is no, keep it legal. You can also go to clickorlando.com/react and send your response to our poll that way as well.
Well, if you've ever been stuck in traffic on the 408, you know one of the main trouble spots every morning is between Goldenrod and I-4. And now a new plan is in the works to add an extra lane in each direction. The project wants to add more lanes between Orange Blossom Trail and I-4. It would take the two sections of the road from 4 to 5 lanes to improve traffic and decrease crashes. The study on the potential improvements for the 408 found that rear-end collisions make up 53% of all the crashes there. In about an hour, leaders will hold an informational meeting. This is also your chance to share what you think about this idea. Last week on News 6 at 4, some drivers told us the project is needed.
Very crucial because we're very close to downtown Orlando, and that's where a lot of people are working at because you got headquarters for Truist is down there, the stadium is down there, and a lot of the nightlife is down there.
It might help make less traffic, probably help people get where they need to going quicker too. I mean, I think they need it.
Tonight's meeting is at 5:30. No date has been announced for the start of the project. The design phase is still underway, and that is expected to be done by early 2027.
The spring housing market is off to a slow start. Sales just dropped again.
What's keeping buyers out, and the one thing experts say could finally unlock more homes. Plus, after a congressman resigned due to rape allegations, the conversation is shifting to other people. What this means for a Central Florida lawmaker, that's next. Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
We have new details in the case of a Brevard County teen found murdered on a Carnival cruise ship. Anna Kepner's stepbrother, 16-year-old Timothy Hudson, is charged as an adult, but he is still not in jail. In a new court filing, the Justice Department asked a judge to revoke Timothy Hudson's bond on previous juvenile charges. A convicted serial killer from California could be executed right here in Florida. This afternoon, an Orange County jury recommended the death penalty for DeMorris Hunter. He murdered a woman in College Park back in 2002. Police in Melbourne say crews recovered a body found in the Intracoastal Waterway. So far, officers say there are no indications of a criminal investigation.
We are learning a 69-year-old man did not survive from his injuries in a house fire. First responders pulled him out yesterday evening. Today, investigators identified him as Alan Phillips. The flames erupted at the home along Tanner Lane near Winter Springs. News 6's Troy Campbell spoke with neighbors about what they saw.
Coming home from the store, and I saw like 5 fire trucks. I thought, what in the world? Really speeding down. And then I saw the ambulances.
Linda Hayes says she was driving home from Publix just after 5 p.m. Monday when she heard the sirens. Her husband was already at home.
I was watching, I had Channel 6 News on, as a matter of fact. We could hear him coming up.
The Seminole County Fire Department says their crews were called to the home on the 1400 block of Tanner Lane just after 5 p.m. with reports of at least one person trapped inside.
The neighbors said that there was possibly 2 people inside. We did search the structure. We found one, and we have confirmed that there was no one else inside of the structure.
Seminole County Fire Chief Matt Kinley says his firefighters discovered a man inside suffering from severe burns and transported him to Oviedo Medical Center.
The Seminole County Fire Department says it's simply too narrow down Forest Hills Drive right here, so instead they had us meet them right across at the Community Neighborhood Center to receive an update so their crews could safely get in and out of the scene.
It's a very tight area. It's your typical neighborhood with just very tight with homes. We have a lot of hose on the ground. A lot of apparatus still moving around.
Chief Kinley also says the home was overcluttered with stuff, making it much more difficult to put out the fire.
Our crews did encounter what we would call hoarding conditions, just a lot of stuff on the inside. Makes it a lot harder to maneuver, to put the fire out, and to search for victims.
Neighbor Brenda Foulman says she's thankful crews were able to prevent the fire from spreading.
Those homes over there are just really close to each other, so if something happens to one, it's very likely it could happen to another.
And that raised a lot of concerns. A lot of people were talking about this afternoon.
Yes, and I have some friends that live over there.
In Winter Springs, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Troopers say a pickup truck crashed into a woman who was carrying an infant. It happened early this morning, just after 3 on State Road 46 west of Jungle Road in Geneva. Troopers identified the woman as 24-year-old Destiny Gonzalez. They say the mom was walking in the road while carrying a car seat with the infant and went into the path of the truck. The driver ended up hitting her. The driver stayed at the scene. Troopers say the woman died. The infant was not hurt. The crash remains under investigation.
A teenager accused of hurting 4 teens outside an Orlando restaurant is now charged as an adult. Orlando police arrested 16-year-old Cody Doggett in February. Investigators say he was part of a group that got into a fight outside Sister Soul Food on South Paramore Avenue back on February 15th. They say after the first round of shots were fired, he came back to the restaurant, then fired more shots into the crowd that had rushed there to help.
Auntie, they have a gun, and when I looked up, the bullets was already coming. Shot through the bond, went through the TV, into the wall.
Chaos. Yeah. We had people screaming. We had children screaming and running, trying to find protection.
Elderlies on the floor that trying to get protected, that barely can walk. They had to get down on the floor.
Police say the shooting spree is a case of gang violence. They say more charges are expected, and they are working to identify the other people involved. Doggett is charged with attempted second-degree murder with a firearm. Over the weekend, a judge ordered him to stay in jail on no bond.
Well, just as Democrat Eric Swalwell announces he's leaving Congress and dropping his bid for California governor because of rape allegations, there are questions if other members should be expelled as well. That includes Central Florida Congressman Corey Mills. Today, House Speaker Mike Johnson said he's looking into it.
With regard to Mills, I'm not sure the status of the
Ethics Committee investigation, and that's one of the things I'll be looking into today.
Ms. Langston,
The Republican has represented Seminole and Volusia County since 2023. Right now, he's facing 2 allegations of sexual misconduct. Meantime, we're hearing from an accuser who says Democrat Swalwell raped her. CBS's Gwen Baumgardner has the latest on the fallout from Los Angeles.
I had contact with Eric Swalwell on 3 separate occasions.
Another Eric Swalwell accuser came forward Tuesday with stunning allegations dating back to 2018 in a West Hollywood hotel room.
I believe he drugged my drink. He raped me. And he choked me. And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness.
Lana Drew says her delay in coming forward was driven by fear, not doubt.
Immediately, we will be filing a police report with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office.
Swalwell's fall has been swift and sudden, dropping his bid for governor and announcing he's leaving Congress, all within a 24-hour period following multiple prior allegations. Friday, he strongly denied any allegations of sexual assault.
They have never happened, and I will fight them with everything that I have.
Ali Samarco and Annika Albrecht spoke exclusively with CBS's Nancy Cordes, saying Swalwell sexually harassed or pursued them early in their professional careers.
He invited me to a hotel to meet him. It was very clear what the connotation was. At that point, I completely stopped responding. One night he was on a trip and he was laying in his hotel room bed, and then he sent me a photo of his penis.
The political unraveling has left a vacancy in the U.S. House of Representatives. Here in California, Governor Newsom has 14 days to call for a special election to fill Swalwell's seat.
Since we have a primary election coming up in June anyway, it looks to me like that would be a good opportunity.
Swalwell was initially part of that statewide primary election in his bid for governor and had been set to appear at a candidates event Tuesday afternoon. Gwen Baumgardner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Now to a live look at stocks. After the closing bell today, stocks rallied to the edge of their all-time high and crude oil prices eased as hopes climb that the United States and Iran may try again on talks to end the war. The Dow gained 0.7%, up more than 300 points today. The S&P also up 1.2%. The Nasdaq climbing about 2% on the day. With the 2-week ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran set to expire a week from today, the push for a second round of negotiations between the countries is growing. The push for talks happens as the U.S. blockade of Iran's ports in the Strait of Hormuz is now in its second day, though tracking data shows some Iranian-linked ships still moving through the strait. A U.S. official says the blockade is enforced in the Gulf of Oman, which means that ships can get through the strait but not far past it. Meantime, in Washington, diplomats from Lebanon and Israel are holding their first direct talks in more than 30 years in an effort to end the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah, Iran's proxy in Lebanon. The Secretary of State says it will take time.
This is about bringing a permanent end to 20 or 30 years of Hezbollah's influence in this part of the world, and not just the damage it's inflicted on Israel, the damage it's inflicted on the Lebanese people.
President Trump had urged Israel to scale back attacks on Lebanon as the strikes had threatened the ceasefire with Iran. And now for a check on gas prices at the pump today. The national average for a gallon of regular gas is $4.11. That's a penny less than yesterday. Florida's average, though, jumped to $4.10. Yesterday, it was $4.01. Right now, Flagler County has the most expensive average price in Central Florida, sitting at $4.19 a gallon.
Meanwhile, it has been a sour start to the spring housing season. Typically, more homes come on the market this time of year because buyers and sellers want to move before the start of the new school year. Jen Sullivan explains what's going on with housing.
It's been a sluggish start to the spring housing market. Fewer people appear to be buying homes. Existing home sales dropped 3.6% month over month in March, according to the National Association of Realtors. And the sales slump is happening all over the country.
We just need more inventory to appear on the marketplace.
Florence Yoon with the National Association of Realtors says low inventory, high sticker prices, and high mortgage rates are turning away potential buyers.
home prices are hitting record high levels. The affordability is clearly an issue.
The median existing home sale price in March is up from the year prior, more than $408,000, according to the NAR. So if you're putting down 20%, that means you would need more than $81,000 in cash. And as of last week, the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage was 6.37%, according to Freddie Mac.
We want people's income to be rising above the home price growth, but that can only happen once we have more supply.
Yoon says higher interest rates are also holding back homeowners from selling their homes because they likely bought their current home when mortgage rates were lower.
I thought the mortgage rate would be at 6% for most of this year, but given the global economic circumstances, I have raised the mortgage rate anticipation to 6.5%.
The good news is the spring housing market typically lasts through June, so Yoon says more homes are likely to come on the market. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
A city's growth put emergency response times to the test.
Yeah, now there's a new fire station opening up, what it means for how fast help can reach you. That's coming up.
I'm News 6 investigator Pavlina Asta. Imagine weeks before your wedding day, the venue shuts its doors. I'm finding out what happened at the Crystal Ballroom in Daytona Beach.
We are going to enter an extended dry stretch, and that also means we're going to warm things up in a big way. I'm going to have that part of your forecast as we head into your weekend at about 4:47.
And as we head to break, did you know there's more to watch on News 6 Plus? Get caught up on Central Florida's news and weather at a time that works for you, 9 o'clock every night. Go on patrol with Trooper Steve. Get clear on Florida politics from Politically Motivated and celebrate the best of Central Florida with Are We There Yet with the News 6 Insiders. You can watch it all right now. Just get the News 6 Plus app loaded onto your smart TV. You can download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Original Mattress Factory.
Wedding dreams are unraveling. A Daytona Beach wedding venue abruptly closed its doors, leaving couples desperate to find another place to host their big day.
News 6 investigator Pavlina Asta is live at the Ocean Walk. And Pavlina, you talked with the owner and a couple that was supposed to get married there in just 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right, Lisa and Ginger. On the 3rd floor of the Ocean Walk was a picturesque wedding venue right on the beach. One couple tells me that the doors are locked and they're left to find a new spot for their special day.
Doors are closed.
You're planning your dream wedding and suddenly
No sign, no nothing.
your wedding venue shuts its doors.
Last Thursday, we received a call saying that they have some issue with the stairways. They have some issue with the elevators.
18 days before Krista and Angel's big day,
So I'm gonna start looking all the way around this area to find another venue. So that's still gonna be coming out of pocket, God only not another $10,000 just to make my wedding happen.
they're left scrambling.
But at this point, I'm very disappointed with how they treat us right now and lying, saying that the city fire department shut down the building when that wasn't the case. It's because they didn't pay the rent.
According to Volusia County court documents, back in February, the Crystal Ballroom received an eviction notice.
We're fighting with the lawyers in the courts all the way to the last minute.
After a lengthy legal battle, they lost the space at the end of March.
That my heart is with them, and I am 100% devoted to make it all right for everybody. Obviously, it's a very unforeseen circumstances. It's not nothing that I planned for or wanted to happen. And as I'm explaining to them, I'm on their side when it comes to this frustration.
The Crystal Ballroom owed nearly $245,000 in overdue rental fees, where according to documents, they failed and refused to make payment. The Crystal Ballroom owner says he's been in constant communication with his couples since they were kicked out.
I reached out to the multiple clients. We established relocation to my venues, or we processing refunds.
Even with the option to relocate,
I don't know if I trust them anymore. At this point, I just would love for them to give my money back without having any excuse.
Krista and Angel tell me that no matter what happens, they are getting married May 2nd, that is. Ginger, Lisa, back to you.
All right. Well, fingers crossed that eventually everything works out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pavlina. We learned about this story because someone reached out to the News 6 Neighborhood Network. How can News 6 help you? Go to the News 6 app or clickorlando.com and click Contact Us and let us know how we can help.
Talk about bad timing, because this is wedding season
It sure
right
is.
now,
Yeah.
the height of it.
Maybe
going
they
into
could
May.
just move it out to the beach, though, because
There you go.
Yeah,
should be nice.
Fantastic.
Always beautiful out there.
Yeah, dry weather for days, really for the next 7 to 10 days. Rain chances are limited at best. Here's a live look outside downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. There are some of those puffy heating of the day clouds just bubbling up. We'll lose those as the sun goes down tonight. But a fantastic afternoon. Certainly still some clouds out there, but we're going to get rid of them over the next couple of hours. Lower 80s for us right now. The breeze, it's still out there out of the east, and that's one of the main reasons why we do still have the cloud cover around in spots, because we do have some of that extra moisture coming in off of the Atlantic Ocean tonight. 81 in Holopah right now. Melbourne, good evening. We are at 79 degrees. Wildwood, we are at 82. 79 for us in Palm Coast. We're situated right around 80 degrees in Bunnell as well. Sanford, we are back to 82 degrees at this hour. Radar giving us a nice clean sweep out there. And again, that is how things are going to stay, not only for the rest of tonight, tomorrow, but really for the next 7 to 10 days. Here's a clouds and rain forecast for you over the next couple of hours. Again, just a few clouds trying to push on shore. Otherwise, we are dry. Now, taking it through tomorrow, you'll notice the cloud pattern change up a little bit. The direction will be more out of the south. That's kind of the start of our pattern change to warm us up big time as we get toward the end of this work week and into the early stages of your weekend. There's lunchtime tomorrow, just a few passing clouds out there. I think tomorrow we start to see a little more sunshine, and then gradually over the next couple of days, we break that sunshine out just a little bit more. There's early in the morning on Thursday, I think a few higher thin clouds come in to try to make it a more of a milkier filtered sunshine on Thursday. 60 degrees tomorrow morning when you start in Sanford, back to the upper 50s in Ocala, 57 degrees in Denellen. Nice and comfy for us in Palm Coast to head out the door tomorrow. We're back into the upper 50s. Now here's a look at tomorrow that gets our temperatures again back to around 80 degrees in Ormond Beach. Apopka, we are at 85. Back to the upper 80s in Lake County tomorrow. Celebration, good evening. We are at 86. Miko, we're going to get back into the upper 70s as well. Big divide in the temperature department across the country. You see where the warmth is bubbling up, where you have the low 70s back to New York, 81 in Oklahoma City, El Paso's in the mid 70s. There's where the chill is, and this is kind of the makings of this bigger pattern change that is going to keep us on the drier side as all the active weather stays out right where the temperature divide meets. It's going to keep all the rain chances pretty much to our west over the next 10 days. Look at this. This is through next Friday, April 24th. All of the rain well toward our west. Maybe a little bit of rain trying to develop across the southern tier of Florida. But as Central Florida goes, as far as Central Florida goes, we are looking at things remaining on the drier side, which these numbers, again, which I show you almost on a nightly basis to keep tabs with the drought, will likely go up. Again, where you see the blue here, way under 500. Remember, 500 is that kind of key number where counties enact burn bans. You want to stay far below that. Where we had the most improvements from last week, rain was along the Space Coast. We still have a lot of work to do, even along the coast. And you see, again, there's just really no more drought relief in sight. We're back to the upper 80s on Thursday, lower 90s over the weekend, just a 20% shot for a quick hitting shower on Monday. And that is unlikely, guys.
Oh, goodness. We are so dry. Thank you, Jonathan. Now to more help for a fast-growing city.
A much-needed new fire station for Brevard County's largest city and one of the fastest-growing areas in all of Central Florida in recent years. I'm your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero. I'll take you to the grand opening ceremony.
Coming up in the morning, keeping you safe at the airport, new steps being taken to make sure your next flight is both safe and smooth.
And an update to the plans to expand a major highway. We'll tell you when you could see a few more lanes.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
A much needed new fire station for Brevard County's largest city and one of the fastest growing areas in all of Central Florida in recent years. I'm your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero. With the ceremonial uncoupling of a fire hose and the swearing in of a new firehouse dog.
Hi, baby.
Halo definitely smelled my dog. Palm Bay opens just its 7th fire station in a city of more than 150,000 people. Residents are a little bit safer today, huh?
Much safer, yes, sir.
I've talked for years to firefighters like Assistant Chief John Ringlet about concerning emergency response times. As population grew fast, U-Haul, for example, said in 2023 more people moved to Palm Bay than any part of the country. Response times slowed down. On some calls, the city said it was taking up to 20 minutes to get firefighters to your neighborhood. So how much does a new station like this help?
So it helps tremendously. So the city, I mean, it's growing on all of our borders. It does give us an opportunity to respond to those areas a lot faster than coming from a further distance.
What features does a new station like this have that old stations don't?
Yeah, so carcinogen protection, which is a big thing that we're working for. We're looking for longevity with our firefighters. We've got a state-of-the-art gym in there as well. A lot of living quarters for people to have some downtime, and new trucks. We got new personnel coming in here.
And now the city has plans to build even more fire stations to serve this growing community. I'll put those details in my story on clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Traffic trouble on the 408 could soon get a major shakeup. Coming up, we're live with a plan to expand lanes near downtown Orlando. How that could change your daily drive. First, though, a courtroom decision that ends in a unanimous vote for death. The emotional testimony from both sides that led to the final decision. And your forecast is only minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus.
I'm Tylisa Hampton in Orlando, where earlier DeMaurice Hunter, the jury recommended that he be given the death penalty over life in prison without parole. I'll share more details coming up.
Plus, a mayoral showdown comes down to the final hours in a pop cup. We're live with why every last vote could decide the city's next leader. And
I think the need is there because of the traffic forecast.
a major road project now turning into a county-to-county clash. What's at the center of a growing debate over traffic, and what comes next for one of Seminole County's busiest corridors? You're watching News 6 at 5.
First at 5, after 2 days of trial and hours of testimony, a jury just recommended a death sentence for a convicted killer.
And he's not just responsible for a murder out of Central Florida, but also several on the West Coast. Your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, has been in court all day. She shares why a jury decided on the verdict for DeMaurice Hunter.
Well, things were tense inside this courtroom. Even at one point, tears were shed by family members of Hunter as the jury unanimously decided to give him that death penalty. And we know that the state, they urged that the jury members consider the actions that Hunter did and also the people he hurt. With glasses on and staring at the judge, DeMaurice Hunter heard his fate by jurors.
We, the jury, find by a vote of 12-0 that DeMaurice Andy Hunter should be sentenced to death.
After nearly 2 hours of deliberation with a choice of life in prison without parole or the death penalty, the jury unanimously decided to give Hunter the death penalty after the 2002 killing of Teresa Green, who was strangled after a party. Her body was later found in the trunk of her car.
The injuries to her neck show that she was conscious during the strangulation process.
The jury's decision comes as Hunter was already behind bars, serving a life sentence for murdering another woman in California just 2 months before Green's death. Before that, he was already convicted in a separate California murder in 1985 for killing a man.
How many people does he have to kill before we say enough is enough?
During day 2 of the trial, witnesses included Hunter's childhood friend who described their tough upbringing in California and his daughter, whose relationship with him has largely been while he's been in prison.
Do you have a relationship with him? Yeah. Would you like to continue to have a relationship with him?
Yes. Both sides delivering firm closing arguments.
They clearly did not know the true side of the defendant, the violent side, the side that time and time and time again chose to hurt people.
A sentence of life imprisonment is not mercy without consequence. It is accountability. But it also leaves room for something else. The recognition that human beings are more than their worst thing that they've ever done.
As Hunter's daughter left the stand, she blew a kiss to her father. Prosecutors urged jurors not to focus on who he was to friends and family, but on his actions and what he did to his victims.
He's responsible for where he sits right now. How many families does the defendant have to destroy before the death penalty is appropriate?
And we know it's not over yet. That Spencer hearing, that comes next for June 1st. We'll make sure to keep you updated. Reporting, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton.
So even with the jury's unanimous decision for DeMaurice Hunter to be put to death, this case goes far beyond one verdict. He's a convicted serial killer out of California. Now, the FBI says a serial killer is defined as an individual who murders 2 or more people over a period of time. Hunter was only convicted of 1 murder here in Florida. So why was this trial a life or death case here in particular? Well, Hunter has a long violent history with murders spanning decades. His crimes date back to the 80s in Oakland, California. At just 18 years old, he shot multiple people in separate attacks. 1 victim died. Hunter served more than a decade in prison before being released. Prosecutors say after parole, he killed again. In 2002, he murdered another woman in California, then ran. That cross-country flight is what brought this case here. Investigators say after that California killing, Hunter traveled all the way over to College Park, where he met and later killed 38-year-old Teresa Green. He was eventually captured in Houston after a nationwide manhunt and faced charges in both states. In California, Hunter was sentenced to more than 100 years to life, ensuring he will likely die in prison. But here in Florida, the stakes were even higher. That's a key difference. California no longer carries out executions. Florida still does. Again, tonight, a jury not only found Hunter guilty, but unanimously decided he should be put to death. We're still waiting for a judge to hand down the final sentence. Of course, that depends on what the jury just recommended. We'll bring you the latest updates on air and on clickorlando.com.
Federal prosecutors are now pushing to put the teen charged in Anna Kepner's death behind bars. It comes months after a judge allowed him to remain out of custody. We've been updating you on this story since 18-year-old Anna Kepner was found dead under the bed of her stateroom on a Carnival cruise back in November of last year, shortly after her 16-year-old stepbrother was a suspect in her death. News 6's Jana Manahalal is live in the newsroom to break down these latest developments for us. Jana.
That's right. His case started out as a juvenile case, and an order to allow Hudson to be released to family was issued back in February while he was under the Juvenile Delinquency Act. But now Hudson is being charged as an adult for first-degree murder and attempted sexual assault. The court is now saying it wants the original order of release to be kicked out because it no longer applies in this case. We told you Monday that Timothy Hudson, who was a defendant in this case, is now officially being charged as an adult after a grand jury indicted him on March 10th, moving his case from a juvenile to adult case. Once a juvenile's matter is transferred to adult status, the case is now subject to all provisions and punishments that would apply to any adult facing similar charges, including detainment. On April 8th, a magistrate judge found that all documents were filed correctly for this case to move from juvenile under the Juvenile Delinquency Act to adult prosecution under the Bail Reform Act. Because of that, the court decided to request a review and revocation of the original release order. But let's go back to February 6th really quick. Hudson had a detention hearing while the case was still under juvenile proceedings. During that hearing, the government requested Hudson be detained for dangerousness. Magistrate Judge Torres found probable cause for the alleged charges, but then denied the government's request for detention and instead issued a release order for Hudson to stay with his family, specifically his uncle in Hernando County. The U.S. Attorney's Office filing requests Hudson be detained, stating it would be sufficient to prevent the defendant from being a danger to others. So what happens now? Well, Hudson's attorneys have until April 20th to respond. As I just mentioned, the court is asking for Hudson to be detained, but the documents do go on to say that release with bond could be an option. If Hudson is detained, prosecutors have not yet specified where he will be held, whether that's in a juvenile detention facility or an adult facility. Live in the newsroom, I'm Jana Manahalal, News 6.
All right, Jana, thank you. New at 5, a new legal move for the mom charged in connection with the death of her 3-year-old in Marion County. New court filings show Jennifer Kendrick plans to use an insanity or mental health defense. Her attorney claims she could not tell right from wrong at the time. You may remember this horrible story out of Citra when it happened in February. Deputies say Kendrick's boyfriend, Jerron Coombs, killed her 3-year-old child after months of abuse. New documents say Coombs described the abuse as using restraints, violence, and delaying a 911 call. Both are currently being held without bond in the Marion County Jail.
Let's take a live look over the 408. If you've ever been stuck in traffic on this road, I have spent many hours there. You know, one of the main trouble spots every morning is right between Goldenrod and I-4, but that could soon be changing.
There is a new plan in the works to add an extra lane in each direction. News 6's Alex Cook is live at Jones High School, where a meeting tonight is underway to talk about how to begin this project. Alex?
That's right. The meeting actually starts at 5:30, so still a few minutes, but we do already know that this project could be bringing big changes to that busy area of the 408 right by downtown. The CFX says that it will widen and change the way lanes work, and those of us that travel that area all the time know how much of a bottleneck it can be.
It's just been getting worse every year it just get worse. More people live here, more traffic.
So tonight's meeting will focus on a project CFX says would add a 5th eastbound lane between Orange Blossom Trail and I-4, while also reworking part of the Tampa Avenue interchange and nearby ramps. The goal is to improve traffic flow through one of the busiest bottlenecks near downtown. But tonight should also give drivers and neighbors a better idea of what this project could change and what kind of disruption could come before any relief does. So that meeting is about to start. I'll be in there with some questions of my own, and we'll have more on what concerns the people in the meeting have coming up later on News 6 later tonight. But for now, live in Orlando, Alex Cook, News 6.
All right, Alex, thank you. We are just hours away from the polls closing in a mayoral showdown in Apopka.
Yeah, whoever wins will be replacing current Mayor Brian Nelson. Those polls close at 7 o'clock, but there's still enough time to cast your vote. Your Orange County community correspondent Troy Campbell joins us live now. How's it looking out there, Troy?
Well, Matt, Lisa, I got to say, I was actually surprised by how many vehicles we're seeing going in and out here. We're at the Apopka Community Center, and there has just been, like I said, steady flow of people going in and out, casting their vote. There's also tents and signs for both Nick Nessa and Christine Moore. Now, we are told Nick Nessa, he's at the second polling location. That is the Northwest Recreation Complex right now. But we did spot Christine Moore here behind me, chatted with her a little bit. She said she's just thankful this day has finally come. And as we all know, no matter what happens, Apopka will get a new mayor after their current mayor, Brian Nelson, failed to gain enough votes in last month's election. Now, in that election, Nick Nesta did perform about 10 percentage points above Christine Moore. So both candidates have spent the past few weeks getting their message out to voters. We spent some time speaking to both candidates. We asked them about the revitalization of downtown, the future of property tax revenue, and also growth. And we asked what is the biggest priority for them. Both agreeing growth and development is a priority, saying whoever takes on that role as mayor needs to approach that in a very responsible manner. Take a listen.
What we have to do moving forward now is prioritizing smart growth, one that prioritizes its resident-focused growth, one that doesn't sacrifice our current residents just for the new ones.
It is a challenge, yes, but there are lots of little tweaks that I believe could have been done to slow the growth in Apopka and make it a more family-friendly environment.
So again, the polls do close at 7, so you still have some time. Again, the two precincts are the Apopka Community Center and the Northwest Recreation Complex. So of course, we'll continue watching those numbers, and we plan to speak to the winner once, of course, that is announced. So until then, live in Apopka, Troy Campbell, News 6, back to you.
Troy, thank you. Well, the road project is turning into a regional showdown.
Yeah, a plan to widen McCulloch Road is sparking concerns across 2 counties. Coming up, why some leaders and neighbors fear this could open the door to major development. It is no surprise that Central Florida is growing quickly, and we all sit in the traffic and see the construction and pay attention to how our counties are planning for the future. But plans to widen McCulloch Road near the Orange and Seminole County line have gotten Seminole County's attention because some commissioners say their neighbors next door were moving forward without their input. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver shows us how both counties are working to get on the same page.
Seminole County and Orange County are at a crossroads over what to do with McCulloch Road. We're driving the section now that Orange County wants to widen. It's from Lockwood Boulevard to North Tanner Road. In order to do that, they need Seminole County's input because part of this 1 mile stretch is in Seminole County. But the commission says they didn't know much about the plan. So Seminole County's commission sent a letter to Orange County asking them for more information. That brought everyone together for a meeting that's happening here.
I think the need is there because of the traffic forecast.
Both counties could benefit from the congestion relief and updates to the drainage system included in Orange County's plans. Their public works staff pointed out how much the area has grown. Look at the difference in these images from 1958 to 2025. Around 28,000 cars drive through here every day.
This is a short gap fix for the bigger problem of moving east and west.
There's really been, from our citizen standpoint, really no outcry to widen this road yet.
We spoke to Commissioner Bob DeLaury about his concerns.
There's one subdivision on the north side of the road that is going to be impacted through the floodplain. But I'm more concerned about what could happen if you do widen this road. You know, what is the potential of the state or someone else preempting us?
Neighbors in both counties have opposed the project because of their fear of future development so close to the rural boundary. DeLaury says it could be a gateway to growth near the Econ River.
In order to develop that area, you'd have to put a bridge in, going over the river. And so that's what we're trying to make sure that that doesn't happen.
So what happens next? The $33 million project is in the study phase, but Orange County is getting closer towards design and then eventually construction. It will be back in front of the commission there coming up in June. In Orange County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Let's turn now to a live look at Daytona Beach. You can see the waves. It's looking less choppy than it did maybe a week ago or so. It looked like it was boiling out there a while ago. A pretty beautiful day out on the beach. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. We can get used to this weather, huh?
I think so, yeah. We obviously still need the rain, of course, but it is going to be very warm and it's going to be on the sunny side. I think the clouds we had out there today, gradually, day by day, as we get towards the end of this work week, there'll be fewer and fewer clouds in the sky. Here's a live look outside Port Canaveral, Brevard County with our Launch Credit Union camera. We see some of the haze out there. We're back to the upper 70s right now. Just a few of those passing clouds. As soon as the sun goes down, most of those clouds will go with it. Those heating of the day cumulus clouds we have out there. We're at 77 New Smyrna Beach. Groveland, we're at 85. 82 in Kissimmee. We are back to the upper 70s in Cocoa Beach. Mico, we are at 78. Now tomorrow, nice comfortable morning to get you out the door on Wednesday. We're back to 60 in Sanford, 59 in Groveland, 61 degrees for us in Oviedo. Now here's a look at tomorrow that gets our temperatures again back into the lower 80s in Deltona. Lake Catherine, good evening. We are back to 86 degrees, 86 in Celebration, Palm Bay. We are back to around 80 degrees. By tomorrow afternoon in Apopka and Wekiva Springs, hope you guys are doing well tonight. We're back to the upper 70s by lunchtime. Fantastic afternoon, certainly. I think more sunshine comes away. We'll still have a few of those puffy heating of the day clouds, but I don't think there will be as many tomorrow. We're at 83 by 2, 85 degrees by 4 o'clock under a mainly sunny sky. Now, this big pattern change to get us drier and to get us warmer is all because of this big swirl hanging out in the west coast. You see that green ribbon of moisture there in the water vapor imagery. We're looking at about 15 to 20,000 feet above our head. This is going to go into fueling some big time severe weather again tonight towards Minnesota, Iowa, and toward the Great Lakes. For us, that pattern means we are going to be on the drier side, is about that 15 to 20,000 foot level. This big chunk of high pressure going to continue to build across the Gulf and expand towards the southeast corner of the United States and into the mid-Atlantic. And as it does so, will keep us warm and act to deflect any kind of weather system. You see, once we get towards Sunday, it does try to retreat a little bit. It allows this next dip in the jet stream. That's what that guy's going on here from Atlanta back towards St. Louis, the bluer and green bluer and purple colors. That's some cooler air that then tries to get back in. So while it is going to be hot getting into the weekend, this is not the runaway freight train that is summer just yet. You see here, though, we do warm up big time. By Friday, we're hanging around 90, lower 90 Saturday into Sunday. And then there goes the tail off a little bit into early next work week, back to the mid 70s. And then we will pop back up into the middle 80s as we get towards the back half of that 10-day stretch. But over the next 7 days, we are dry, we are warm. 87 on Thursday. There's that 90 on Friday with a lot of sunshine. Lower 90 Saturday and Sunday. Rain chances, guys, very hard to come by. Only a 20% shot for a passing sprinkle on Monday. Then we get back to the 70s by Tuesday.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, the future of betting or something different?
A platform called Kalshi is turning real-world events into tradable contracts. Coming up, why supporters say it's a smart forecasting tool, but critics argue it is just gambling rebranded.
At first glance, prediction markets may sound like gambling, but they're not. They're more like a stock market for real-world events. Let's start with the most popular predictions market platform, Kalshi. On Kalshi, people are not placing traditional bets. Instead, they're buying and selling contracts based on whether something will or won't happen. For example, a question might be, will a major hurricane hit Florida this year? Or will a certain team win a certain game? Each contract has two sides, yes or no, and contracts are priced between $0 and $1. That price represents the market's best guess at the probability of an event happening. So, if a contract is trading at 70 cents, the market is essentially saying there's a 70% chance it will happen. The flip side, the 30% chance that it won't happen, trades at 30 cents. If you buy in and you're right, you get $1. If you're wrong, you get nothing. And another difference from sports betting, you don't have to wait for the final result. As a platform markets trader, you can sell your position at any time before the event is decided. It's just like trading a stock, which means you can lock in profits or cut losses early. Another big difference, you're not betting against the house, you're trading against other people, and the prices are set by the market, not a bookmaker. Kalshi and other prediction market platforms like Polymarket and Predictit are regulated at the federal level by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the same type of regulator that oversees financial markets. They are not regulated by state gambling agencies. Still, the line between prediction markets and sports betting is blurring. As these platforms expand into sports, some critics argue they're essentially offering betting under a different name. Supporters respond, saying they're providing a new way to forecast events and manage risk. In the end, it comes down to this. Prediction markets turn future events into tradable assets where the crowd, not the house, sets the odds. For Dollars and Cents, I'm Donovan Myrie.
Well, a vacation at sea turned into a mystery now spanning countries.
Coming up, what the husband of a missing woman is now saying after being released without charges. Plus,
Divers from Melbourne Police recover a man's body from the water on that side of the 192 causeway. I'm your Melbourne community correspondent, James Sparvero. I'll tell you what we know so far.
as we take a live look at Daytona Beach, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you tonight. A convicted serial killer from California could be executed for a killing here in Florida. This afternoon, an Orange County jury recommended the death penalty for DeMaurice Hunter. He murdered a woman in College Park in 2002.
The Central Florida Expressway Authority is working on adding an extra lane between two portions of the 408 to alleviate traffic. Tonight at Jones High School, the public will get a closer look at their proposed plans.
We're just hours away from the polls closing on a mayoral showdown in Apopka. Apopka City Commissioner Nick Nesta is facing Orange County Commissioner Christine Moore. Whoever wins will be replacing current Mayor Brian Nelson. Polls close tonight at 7. New details tonight after a grim discovery in Melbourne where divers recovered a man's body from the water along the 192 causeway.
That is right near the downtown area. Your Melbourne community correspondent James Sparvero went down to the site and tells us what we know so far.
Divers from Melbourne Police recover a man's body from the water on that side of the 192 causeway.
I noticed a police vehicle and a CSI van. Suspicious activity.
Andre Walls told me he was driving over the bridge Tuesday morning when he saw the officers who found the man's body in the shallow water near the rock barrier on the north side. Police say the first person to see the body floating called 911 around 8. Something pretty shocking to hear?
Yeah, shocking for the city of Melbourne and this area right here.
Police haven't said if the man was homeless, but they did say he had a campsite here along the river. They know his name, but they're not telling us because they still have to tell his family first. They say it looks like right now that no one harmed this man, so it's not a criminal investigation. But the investigation is still open and active. So whatever new information we learn, we'll tell you right here on News 6 and clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Melbourne community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
New at 5, deputies just arrested a man who they say is responsible for a road rage shooting out of Volusia County. They say 29-year-old Taylor Taft fired a single shot at another driver. Thankfully, no one was hurt. This happened around 8 this morning at the intersection of State Road 415 and Osceola Tram Road. Deputies say the bullet did flatten the tire of the victim's car. Taft is being held in the Volusia County Jail on no bond.
We're waiting to hear from investigators on if they're any closer to finding the driver who hit a school bus in Marion County, then drove off. It happened yesterday morning on Southeast 145th Street and Southeast 38th Terrace near Bellevue. Troopers say the school bus was stopped to pick up some kids when a driver in a white, orange, and blue truck hit the bus from behind. Troopers say 54 high school students were on board at the time. 5 of them had to go to the hospital with minor injuries. Troopers are asking anyone with info on who that driver could be to contact FHP at star 347. New at 5, we just got the arrest report for the driver accused in a deadly Leesburg hit and run. Court documents in Lake County detail how investigators identified Evan Harry Garcia in a deadly crash that killed Ashley Hayes. Police say the 40-year-old was crossing US 27 in Leesburg early April 10th when she was hit and left in the road with severe trauma. Detectives say Flock license plate readers helped trace the 2025 Hyundai Elantra with front-end damage, matching debris at the scene. Investigators say Garcia admitted he felt an impact but thought it was an animal or object. He did not stop or call police. Garcia is now charged with leaving the scene of a crash involving death. He's being held without bond. Tonight, Hayes' family is asking for help launching a GoFundMe to cover funeral costs and support her son and pets. We've posted the link on our website, clickorlando.com.
An intensifying international investigation surrounding a woman who vanished at sea. Her husband is now free without charges after being questioned in the Bahamas. Authorities say he reported his wife missing when she fell overboard during rough waters. But family members are now raising questions about what really happened. As Michael Yoshida reports, the search and investigation is now spanning across multiple agencies.
Do you have any message for anyone?
Brian Hooker was silent as he left a Bahamian police station Monday night.
Anything at all to say, Brian?
Hooker was arrested Wednesday and questioned in the disappearance of his wife Lynette, who he reported missing at sea in early April. Hooker's denied any wrongdoing and was released without charges as the investigation and search continues.
I am happy to see
that justice is really working in this country, right? They had no evidence and they had no choice but to release him.
Married for 25 years and experienced sailors, the Michigan couple shared their travels on social media. Hooker told investigators on April 4th he and his wife were in a small boat returning to their yacht when rough waters caused Lynette to fall overboard, and strong currents carried her away. When he made it back to shore, Hooker alerted police and an urgent search started. Lynette's daughter has raised allegations of a turbulent marriage and called for a full investigation.
Like, why wouldn't he drop anchor and look for her? Why did he paddle the other way? Just doesn't make sense.
After days of searching, Hooker was arrested for questioning. A U.S. Coast Guard criminal investigation was also opened. Following his release, Hooker maintains his innocence and says he hasn't given up hope on finding his wife.
I won't be able to stop looking. You want to keep looking for Lynette? I'm going to need somebody with more authority to tell me to stop.
I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
We are working to learn more details about an armed burglary attempt leading to deputies swarming a business. This happened overnight along Old Winter Garden Road and McKinley Avenue in Orange County. Investigators say when they were called to the business, they heard shots toward the back and along the wood line nearby. They searched around but never found anything. Deputies do not believe anyone was shot. We spoke with the employees at a business machine repair shop. They said they do not believe anything was taken, but the door was kicked in there. As soon as we learn anything more, we'll let you know.
Now at 5, a major park policy change is officially in effect in Seminole County. County commissioners voted today to approve a new ordinance that bans smoking at all county-owned parks. The moves comes as leaders say the goal is to protect families and kids from secondhand smoke and cut down on litter like cigarette butts. The county says signs will be posted to help enforce the rule, but questions remain about how those violations will be handled.
A Central Florida congressman is in the crosshairs of the Speaker of the House. News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden is live in the newsroom for us. And Ginger, Congressman Corey Mills is once again under scrutiny.
Yeah, Lisa, just hours ago, Speaker Mike Johnson said he is looking into the House ethics probe of fellow Republican Corey Mills. Congressman Mills represents parts of Volusia and Seminole counties. Now, the House Ethics Committee is investigating Mills over accusations of sexual misconduct and campaign finance violations. The renewed interest in Mills comes after 2 of his fellow congressmen resigned over accusations of sexual misconduct.
With regard to Mills, I'm not sure the status of the Ethics Committee investigation, and that's one of the things I'll be looking into today.
This afternoon, in a statement to the cable news channel News Nation, Mills said, "I don't even fall into the category of Swalwell or Gonzalez. 1, I'm not married, so there's one thing. 2, I've never sexually harassed or had any complaints by any staffers or interns on the Hill. It's just not even a fair comparison." Of course, we will stay on top of this developing story, and we'll have updates as they come into the newsroom. Matt and Lisa, back to you.
Ginger, thank you. Well, do you know the difference between a stop bar and a stop line?
And do you know when you need to stop, then yield before you can? Well, today on Trooper Steve on Patrol, Steve answers those questions to ensure you do not get an unwanted ticket.
Talking about the basic stop sign, the do's, the don'ts, stop bar, stop line, whatever you want to call it, versus the stop sign. In front of my vehicle, I'm going to exit. There's a stop sign, but there's a stop bar on the floor. I'm gonna stop here. They want me to stop here. Why? Because there is a crosswalk to my left. So I'm stopping prior to the crosswalk. Then I'm allowed to inch forward a little bit so that I can see what's going on. I'm now yielding to these other cars that are already in the main area. I am waiting. And then part 2, I've yielded. Guess what, guys? We're going.
Now, if you want to see Steve's full breakdown to keep you safe, just head to this article on clickorlando.com. You can hit the road with Trooper Steve on patrol weekdays at 2:30 in the afternoon and 8:30 at night on the new 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com. When seconds matter, help was taking too long to arrive in Palm Bay.
How rapid growth left emergency crews struggling to keep up. Coming up, the brand new fire station now open, aimed at cutting response times and saving lives. Jonathan.
Gorgeous look outside right now in downtown Orlando. We're going to keep things pretty sunny going forward anyway, and also crank up the heat a little bit into your weekend. We're going to pinpoint that part of your forecast coming up at about 5:47.
First, though, your tax dollars under the microscope in Seminole County. Coming up, how you can get involved in a new Citizens Academy, giving neighbors a behind-the-scenes look at how local government really works.
And did you know there's more to watch on News 6 Plus? Get caught up on Central Florida's news and weather patterns at a time that works for you at 9 o'clock every night. Or go on patrol with Trooper Steve. Get clear on Florida politics from Politically Motivated and celebrate the best of Central Florida with Are We There Yet with the News 6 Insiders. You can watch it all now. Just get the News 6 app loaded on your smart TV.
And you can download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
New tonight, if you live in Seminole County, there's a chance for you to see how your tax dollars are really spent. The county is launching its 2026 Citizens Academy. It's a hands-on series giving neighbors a behind-the-scenes look at local government. It comes as conversations heat up around property taxes and funding. The county says these sessions will break down how services like public safety, infrastructure, and development actually work, plus how decisions impact your daily life. The 6-part series is free. It starts this week with events held across the county through May. When every second counts, one of Central Florida's largest communities was dangerously falling behind. With an explosion of recent growth, Palm Bay struggled to get emergency calls with enough time left to save homes and lives.
But now, after more than a year and a half of construction, the city's opening a brand new fire station in one of those growing areas that needs protection. That's where we join your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero, at a grand opening for the new station on Palm Bay Road.
A much needed new fire station for Brevard County's largest city and one of the fastest growing areas in all of Central Florida in recent years. With the ceremonial uncoupling of a fire hose and the swearing in of a new firehouse dog. Hi, baby. Halo definitely smelled my dog. Palm Bay opens just its 7th fire station in a city of more than 150,000 people. Residents are a little bit safer today, huh?
Much safer, yes, sir.
I've talked for years to firefighters like Assistant Chief John Ringlet about concerning emergency response times. As population grew fast, U-Haul, for example, said in 2023 more people moved to Palm Bay than any part of the country. Response times slowed down. On some calls, the city said it was taking up to 20 minutes to get firefighters to your neighborhood. So how much does a new station like this help?
So it helps tremendously. So the city, I mean, it's growing on all of our borders. It does give us an opportunity to respond to those areas a lot faster than coming from a further distance.
What features does a new station like this have that old stations don't?
Yeah, so carcinogen protection, which is a big thing that we're working for. We're looking for longevity with our firefighters. We've got a state-of-the-art gym in there as well. A lot of living quarters for people to have some downtime, and new trucks. We got new personnel coming in here.
And now the city has plans to build even more fire stations to serve this growing community. I'll put those details in my story on clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Good looking day in Palm Bay and all around Central Florida. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas has a look at how things are shaping up in the weather department.
Yeah, and it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty dry, not only for now, but for the foreseeable future, really. No big weather systems coming down the pipeline, and we're going to keep things nice and sunny. A few extra clouds today, I think, gradually as we move forward over the next couple of days. We are going to lose those clouds a little bit further. Just some puffy clouds with the heating of the day up there right now as we take a live look in downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. Otherwise, we are nice and quiet. We'll lose those clouds as soon as the sun sets tonight. We're back to the lower 80s under that mainly clear sky with just those few passing clouds. The breeze is out of the east-southeast at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. We're back to 78 right now in Palm Coast. Groveland, good evening. We are at 84. Palm Bay, where we just had a look there, the sunshine, we're back to the upper 70s. Kissimmee, we are at 82 degrees. Should be a nice, quiet, comfortable start again tomorrow as well, as radar picking up on nothing. Again, we're likely going to see a nice, clean radar sweep for the next several days. Here we go tomorrow morning as we go through the rest of the evening into tomorrow morning. There's 9 o'clock tonight, and you see it there, mainly clear. So all those puffy clouds that were out there through the heating of the day, those are going to go away. There's 6 to 7 o'clock on your Wednesday morning, just a few passing clouds in the mix. Otherwise, we're looking pretty good. I think more sunshine tomorrow than what we saw today. Just a few higher thin clouds coming in from the west. That's going to be early on Thursday, but otherwise they pose no threat to any kind of rainfall. Nice comfy start tomorrow, 58 in Ocala. Good evening in Denellen. We'll start things off at 57. Holopah, we are at 58 degrees. Sanford into Lake Mary, we are back to around 60 to start. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
Temperatures get back into the mid to upper 80s the further inland you are. We're hanging right around 80 degrees along the coast. That'll put us into the upper 70s at Edgewater. Winter Springs, we are at 84. Wedgefield, we're going to top out at 83 degrees tomorrow under a mainly sunny sky, which is a few passing clouds. All of the warmth building to the east. We have some of the chill returning to the west. Denver's back to the 50s. Phoenix, that big stretch of 100-degree temperatures early in the season, that has gone away. They are back into the mid-70s. But it's this pattern change now that the cooler air is out west, the warmth surges into the east, that's going to keep all of the rainfall well towards our west. Obviously, that's not what we want to hear, but you see clearly over the next 10 days. This is all the way out through Friday, April 24th. Pretty much nothing falling through Central Florida. It's all going to either focus on South Florida or back well towards our north and west. Dry on tomorrow, dry on Thursday. We're back to the upper 80s. We're hanging around 90 degrees on Friday as we warm things up. 91 degrees on Saturday. We are staying in the lower 90s, but with all that active weather back to the west, that system that does supply the west with some of the chill does bring us back into the mid 80s on Monday. 70s return on Tuesday. So this is not summer just yet, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Open your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now and click that link. We want to see your weather pictures and videos, and they could end up on TV. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way.
Well, a championship team stopped in its tracks.
A Seminole County volleyball team raised thousands for a dream trip only to have it blocked by the school district. Coming up, the meeting happening right now and why parents say the district's decision does not add up.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the morning, keeping you safe at the airport. New steps being taken to make sure your next flight is both safe and smooth.
And an update to the plans to expand a major highway. We'll tell you when you could see a few more lanes.
Join us for News 6 Morning, starting at 6.
Through that. Well, welcome back. School leaders with Seminole County Public Schools are meeting right now, facing some tough questions over student travel.
Yeah, a state champion volleyball team had its out-of-state trip denied, even after raising all the money. The district points to budget concerns tied to declining enrollment, but parents say this trip would not cost taxpayers a dime. Your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman spoke with parents who are demanding answers as leaders consider what comes next.
Like many school districts, SCPS says it's facing funding challenges driven by declining enrollment. And with the budget in mind, the district has been rejecting out-of-state travel. But for the parents we spoke with, they say, at least in their case, that doesn't make any sense because they've already fundraised all the money for a tournament they've been planning for months.
Coming off a state championship, Oviedo's volleyball team was planning on going to a tournament in Hawaii for the fall. Seminole County Public Schools, however, canceled the travel request.
Certain members of the volleyball team were made aware that travel was going to be curtailed this past week.
The The move catching parents by surprise. They're also not getting many answers.
The one reason we were given is due to budgetary constraints. Going forward in 2027 school year, they will not be approving any out-of-state travel.
Players, however, have already raised money for the trip, meaning there would be no cost to the school.
So there's no financial impact to the county, to the taxpayer. It's covered entirely by fundraising.
The decision has parents questioning if the district is changing policy to no longer allow out-of-state travel, which could have widespread implications.
It's got a pretty big impact on the entire county. I mean, this will affect clubs, it will affect sports.
For the team, it could mean lost recruiting and an impact on rankings. It's why there's a push for leaders to reconsider.
But there's so much more in school than just in the classroom. So everybody's looking for opportunities to give them exposure to just life in general.
As the district is navigating financial challenges, a spokesperson put out a statement saying in part, out-of-state travel and activities for students and staff will undergo a thorough review and consideration to ensure responsible use of resources while still supporting meaningful opportunities for a robust and enriching educational experience. In Sanford, I'm your Seminole County Community Correspondent Mark Lehman, News 6.
Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we're working on for News 6 at 6.
Lisa and Matt, the 16-year-old accused of killing his stepsister on a cruise ship, remains out of jail tonight. Coming up, what prosecutors are pushing for the stepbrother of Anna Kepner as he is now facing adult charges. Plus, imagine you're getting ready to celebrate your wedding day and all of a sudden the venue closes. Well, that's exactly what happened to one couple. We're hearing from them and the owner of the venue next. This is a live look now at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Charged as an adult. Now on News 6, what prosecutors are pushing for as the stepbrother of a woman killed on a cruise ship remains out of jail. Plus, the clock is ticking as neighbors in Apopka vote on the next person to lead their city. And
imagine a week before your wedding day, the venue shuts its doors. I'm finding out what happened at the Crystal Ballroom in Daytona Beach.
News 6 at 6 starts now.
We begin with a new push by federal prosecutors. They want the teen charged in the death of his stepsister behind bars.
18-year-old Anna Kepner was found dead under the bed of her stateroom on a Carnival cruise in November of last year. Despite the family saying he was being considered a suspect shortly thereafter, just this week, her 16-year-old stepbrother named Timothy Hudson was formally charged with sexually assaulting her, then killing her. News 6's Jana Manohalal is live in the newsroom with a breakdown of why the teen is able to remain out of jail. Jana.
An order to allow Hudson to be released to family was issued back in February while he was under the Juvenile Delinquency Act because he is 16. But now, because Hudson is being charged as an adult for first-degree murder and attempted sexual assault, the court says the original order of release no longer applies. We told you Monday that Timothy Hudson, who is a defendant in this case, is now officially being charged as an adult after a grand jury indicted him on March 10th, moving his case from a juvenile to adult case. Once a juvenile's matter is transferred to adult status, the case is now subject to all provisions and punishments that would apply to any adult facing similar charges, including detainment. On April 8th, a magistrate judge found that all documents were filed correctly for this case to move from juvenile under the Juvenile Delinquency Act to adult prosecution under the Bail Reform Act. Because of that, the court decided to request a review and revocation of the original release order. But let's go back to February 6th really quick. Hudson had a detention hearing while the case was still under juvenile proceedings. During that hearing, the government requested Hudson be detained for dangerousness. Magistrate Judge Torres found probable cause for the alleged charges, but then denied the government's request for detention and instead issued a release order for Hudson to stay with his family, specifically his uncle in Hernando County. The U.S. Attorney's Office filing requests Hudson be detained, stating it would be sufficient to prevent the defendant from being a danger to others. So what happens now? Well, Hudson's attorneys have until April 20th to respond to the court. As I just mentioned, the court is asking for Hudson to be detained, but the documents do go on to say that release with bond could be an option. If Hudson is detained, prosecutors have not specified where he will be held, whether that is in a juvenile detention facility or an adult facility. In the newsroom, I'm Jana Manohalal, News 6.
Jana, thank you. Less than an hour to go. After months of back and forth, tonight we will finally find out who will be the leader of Apopka. During this highly contested race, I have shown you firsthand the candidates and what they're running on to try to get your vote. With Election Day now here, News 6's Troy Campbell is in Apopka at the community center where people are casting their votes now. Troy?
Yeah, Matt, we've been out here a couple hours now, and there's been a steady flow of vehicles. There are people with signs, tents for both Nick Nesta and Christine Moore. We are told that Nesta right now is at the polling location at the Northwest Recreation Complex. However, we did spot Christine Moore behind me. We did chat with her. She said she's just thankful that this day has finally come. Now, no matter what, the city of Apopka will be getting a new mayor after their current mayor, Brian Nelson, failed to gain enough of the vote in last month's election. Now, Nesta, he came in at about 10 points ahead of Christine Moore in that election. We've spoken to them about a ton of stuff. You heard Matt say that. We heard his conversations with the candidates, asked them about the revitalization of downtown. He asked about the future of property taxes and growth. Now, both have spent the recent weeks getting their message out to voters. Now, here's what Moore says moments ago about finally getting to Election Day. And then after that, you'll hear a clip from Nesta of what he told us yesterday about the importance of growth.
We're finally here, Election Day. How has it been? What's going through your mind?
It's been a long year. No, I said I've told the team we've turned over every rock, and not only did we turn over every rock, we probably turned it over once or twice. trying to get to every single voter.
What we have to do moving forward now is prioritizing smart growth, one that prioritizes its resident-focused growth, one that doesn't sacrifice our current residents just for the new ones.
And now we have just under an hour until the polls close. Again, those locations being the Apopka Community Center and the Northwest Recreation Complex. We've spoken to both candidates. We know where they're going to be at once these numbers come in. So look for that later on News 6 at 10 and 11. Until then, live in Apopka, Troy Campbell, back to you.
Okay, Troy, thank you. Well, developing tonight, the Polk County Sheriff's Office says deputies found a missing teen from Orange County hiding in a sex offender's closet. 30-year-old Alexis Diaz Toledo was arrested Monday at his home in Dundee. Detectives say he initially told them he had not seen the 17-year-old in a couple of days, but after a search of his house, investigators say she was found in his bedroom closet. Diaz Toledo is facing a list of charges, including failing to comply with sex offender registration requirements and interfering with the custody of a minor. He has been a registered sex offender since 2014.
Also developing tonight, after 2 days of trial, the jury unanimously recommended death for a convicted serial killer. DeMaurice Hunter was convicted for the murder of Teresa Green in 2002. Hunter strangled Green after a party, and her body was later found in the trunk of her car. Hunter was already sentenced to life for murdering a woman in California 2 months before Green's death.
He's responsible for where he sits right now. How many families does the defendant have to destroy before the death penalty is appropriate?
Extradited to Florida in 2015 after his indictment for Green's death. But the death penalty case had several setbacks since then. A Spencer hearing is set for June 1st. That's a hearing where the defendant gets a final chance to present evidence or make personal statements before a judge formally hands down a sentence. In Melbourne, police say officers pulled the body of a man out of the Indian River Lagoon near the downtown area. Police say the man was found around 8 this morning by someone who called 911. Neighbors telling your Melbourne community correspondent James Barbero they saw officers and dive teams at the scene.
Something pretty shocking to hear?
Yeah, shocking for the city of Melbourne and this area right here.
Officers tell News 6 while this is not a criminal investigation, it is still an open investigation. We'll let you know about any updates as they develop. Wedding dreams are unraveling tonight. A Daytona Beach wedding venue abruptly shut its doors, leaving couples desperate to find another place to host their big day. News 6 investigator Pavlina Osta is at the Ocean Walk after talking with the owner and a couple just weeks from their big day.
On the 3rd floor of the Ocean Walk was a picturesque wedding venue right on the beach. One couple tells me the doors are now locked and they're left to find a new spot for their special day.
Doors are closed.
You're planning your dream wedding and suddenly,
No sign, no nothing.
your wedding venue shuts its doors.
Last Thursday, we received a call saying that they have some issue with the stairways. They have some issue with the elevators.
18 days before Krista and Angel's big day,
So I'm gonna start looking all the way around this area to find another venue. So I'm still gonna be coming out of pocket, God only knows, another $10,000 just to make my wedding happen.
they're left scrambling.
But at this point, I'm very disappointed with how they treat us right now and lying, saying that the city fire department shut down the building when that wasn't the case. It's because they didn't pay the rent.
According to Volusia County court documents, back in February, the Crystal Ballroom received an eviction notice.
We're fighting with the lawyers in the courts all the way to the last minute.
After a lengthy legal battle, they lost the space at the end of March.
That my heart is with them, and I am 100% devoted to make it all right for everybody. Obviously, it's a very unforeseen circumstances. It's not nothing that I planned for or wanted to happen. And as I'm explaining to them, I'm on their side when it comes to this frustration.
The Crystal Ballroom owed nearly $245,000 in overdue rental fees, where according to documents, they failed and refused to make payment. The Crystal Ballroom owner says he's been in constant communication with his couples since they were kicked out.
I reached out to the multiple clients. We establish relocation to my venues, or we processing refunds.
Even with the option to relocate,
I don't know if I trust them anymore. At this point, I just would love for them to give my money back without having any excuse.
Krista and Angel tell me no matter what happens, they're getting married on May 2nd. In Daytona Beach, I'm Pavlina Asta, News 6.
Now, we learned about this story because someone reached out to the News 6 Neighborhood Network. How can News 6 help you? Go to the News 6 app or clickorlando.com and click Contact Us and let us know how we can help.
In Seminole County, school leaders are battling the same funding and enrollment issues many other districts face in Central Florida. As district leaders work to navigate financial issues, this could mean some things get pulled back, including out-of-state travel. Parents are now voicing their concerns after the Oviedo volleyball team's request for a tournament in Hawaii in the fall was denied, even though the team raised the money for the trip. Parents telling your Seminole County community correspondent Mark Lehman they hope the district rethinks this.
There's so much more in school than just in the classroom. So everybody's looking for opportunities to give them exposure to just life in general. The one reason we were given is due to budgetary constraints. Going forward in 2027 school year, they would not be approving any out-of-state travel.
So there's no financial impact to the county, to the taxpayer. It's covered entirely by fundraising.
The district telling News 6 out-of-state travel will have to be reviewed to make sure resources aren't improperly used. The district meeting is still happening. We'll let you know if anything comes out of it tonight. Meanwhile, students at Brevard County Schools getting some welcome news tonight. The start of their summer vacation is going to kick off early. The district informing parents that the school year will end before Memorial Day this year, with the last day for students being May 22nd. There will also be 3 days of early release to end the year for students because of exams. The district says this is because there were no Hurricane Day closures and the courses wrap up earlier than expected. The district says it's working on child care services to help with extra time off. Once we have those details, we'll of course let you know. It's nice not having any hurricane days for a lot of reasons. Well, leaders in Seminole County want families and neighbors to enjoy their time in the area.
Yeah, that's where a new ban is in place to limit some of the smelly air you may have experienced. We'll explain. That's next.
I'm Catherine Silver here near McCulloch Road. We're looking at how plans to widen a 1-mile stretch near UCF could impact people in both Orange and Seminole counties.
Very nice evening tonight. It's going to be a more sunny afternoon tomorrow before they crank up the heat as we get towards the end of your work week and into the weekend. I'm pinpointing that part of your forecast at about 6:17.
Hey, I'm Tony DeCopo. Here's what we're working on tonight ahead of the CBS Evening News. Original reporting on the case of the missing American woman in the Bahamas. The first interview with her husband, who says she fell off the boat. He says he believes she's still alive, that he loves her, and he wants the search to continue. We'll have the absolute latest ahead on the CBS Evening News.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
Well, it's no surprise Central Florida's growing fast. We all sit in the traffic. We see the construction. Pay attention to how our counties are planning for the future without unchecked development.
Yeah, plans to widen McCulloch Road near the Orange and Seminole County line have gotten Seminole County's attention, though, because some customers or some commissioners say their neighbors next door were moving forward without their input. Here's Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver shows us how both counties are working to get on the same page.
Seminole County and Orange County are at a crossroads over what to do with McCulloch Road. We're driving the section now that Orange County wants to widen. It's from Lockwood Boulevard to North Tanner Road. In order to do that, they need Seminole County's input because part of this 1 mile stretch is in Seminole County. But the commission says they didn't know much about the plan. So Seminole County's commission sent a letter to Orange County asking them for more information. That brought everyone together for a meeting that's happening here.
I think the need is there because of the traffic forecast.
Both counties could benefit from the congestion relief and updates to the drainage system included in Orange County's plans. Their public works staff pointed out how much the area has grown. Look at the difference in these images from 1958 to 2025. Around 28,000 cars drive through here every day.
This is a short gap fix for the bigger problem of moving east and west.
There's really been, from our citizen standpoint, really no outcry to widen this road yet.
We spoke to Commissioner Bob DeLaury about his concerns.
There's one subdivision on the north side of the road that is going to be impacted through the floodplain. But I'm more concerned about what could happen if you do widen this road. You know, what is the potential of the state or someone else preempting us?
Neighbors in both counties have opposed the project because of their fear of future development so close to the rural boundary. DeLaury says it could be a gateway to growth near the Econ River.
In order to develop that area, you'd have to put a bridge in, going over the river. And so that's what we're trying to make sure that that doesn't happen.
So what happens next? The $33 million project is in the study phase, but Orange County is getting closer towards design and then eventually construction. It will be back in front of the commission there coming up in June. In Orange County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Meanwhile, in Orange County, leaders are working on a plan to expand a popular part of the 408. The project is to add more lanes between Orange Blossom Trail and I-4. Leaders are currently holding an informational meeting about this at Jones High School. It would take the two sections of the road from 4 to 5 lanes to improve traffic and cut down on crashes. The study on the potential improvements for the 408 found that rear-end collisions make up 53% of all crashes there. Now, no date has been announced for the start of the project. The design phase is still underway. That is expected to be done by early next year. Some changes are coming to parks in Seminole County. Smoking will no longer be allowed.
County commissioners unanimously approved the ban during today's meeting. Supporters say the ban is needed so kids aren't exposed to secondhand smoke. The ban also wants to cut down on litter from tobacco products like those cigarette butts you see around. Leaders tell News 6 there will be signs on display to help enforce this new ban.
All right, time now for a look at that forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. And I know you've been talking about how dry it is and how warm/hot it's going to be this week in Central Florida.
Yeah, and that /hot's going to come as we get towards the end of this work week. Gradually warming up over the next couple of days, but yeah, borderline as we get towards the upcoming weekend. Could be breaking some records in Central Florida. Here's a live look outside Port Canaveral. Love this shot here as the sun is heading down, glistening off the water. That is a live look with our Launch Credit Union camera this evening. We have air temperatures now nice and comfortable. We're back to the mid-70s under a mainly sunny sky. I need the puffy clouds that are out there throughout Central Florida. As the sun gradually gets lower and lower in our sky, we will lose those. Those are born from the heating of the day. We're at 84 in Groveland. Kissimmee, good evening. We are back to 81. Sanford, we're back to 79, 77 degrees. Gorgeous in Cocoa Beach right now. Now, tomorrow morning, a nice comfortable start. Pretty much the same ballpark as where we've been over the past couple of mornings. That'll put us in the low 60s in Oviedo. Titusville, good evening. We'll start tomorrow at 63 degrees. Now, here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
High temperatures tomorrow back to the middle 80s, upper 80s closer to the I-75 corridor. 87 for us in Lake Panasoffkee. Denellen, we're back to 88 degrees. Deltona, we are at 82. Lake Catherine, we're going to start things off or get into the 80s, 86 degrees tomorrow. Palm Bay, we're going to touch 80 degrees with that breeze still out of the east. I think we'll see clouds on the lower side tomorrow. I think we'll see less and less cloud cover as the week goes on as well. Popco, Wekiva Springs for tomorrow. We'll start things off again in the 60s by 10 o'clock with the sunshine already jumping into the lower 70s. I think more sunshine tomorrow. Just a few of those heating of the day clouds coming back for your afternoon. We are at 83 degrees by 2, 85 by 4 under a mainly sunny sky. Pattern change brought to you by this big dip in the jet stream. If you look at the water vapor imagery, we can see the motion at about 15 to 20,000 feet above our head. And this dip in the jet stream, that brown color here as we head towards Southern California into northern Mexico, that is our trough. You see the moisture surging towards central Mexico and toward Texas and the plains. That's where a big severe weather outbreak is about to get underway over the next couple of days. We're on the high pressure side of things, and that chunk of high pressure is not only going to keep us dry, but it's also going to help to warm us up right on into the weekend. So here we go is where we stand right now as we move forward into the next several days, to the middle part of the weekend into the weekend. Big expansive chunk of high pressure all the way through Sunday. And then again, that's going to deflect pretty much everything in our direction. And then also work to keep us nice and toasty, especially as we get into Thursday and then really Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But this is not really the start of summer just yet. We do have some cooler air still in the forecast as we extend this back towards the 7 to 8 day. There's 79 degrees on Tuesday, but we will jump right back into the 80s again as we move into the early stages of next work week. Hanging around 90 on Friday, lower 90s over the weekend. There's temperatures into the mid 80s. There's at 79 on Tuesday with a few extra clouds. Rain chances, as you see it and as we've talked about, pretty much non-existent over the next 7 days. We'll be right back.
Here's a look at your top stories tonight. New details in the case of a Brevard County teen found murdered on a Carnival cruise ship. Anna Kepner's stepbrother, 16-year-old Timothy Hudson, charged as an adult now, but he is still not in jail. In a new court filing, the Justice Department asked a judge to revoke Hudson's bond on previous juvenile charges.
Meanwhile, a convicted serial killer from California could be executed here in Florida. This afternoon, an Orange County jury recommended the death penalty for DeMaurice Hunter. He murdered a woman in College Park back in 2002.
We're just minutes away from the polls closing on the mayoral showdown in Apopka. Here's a live look at the polls right now. Apopka City Commissioner Nick Nesta is facing Orange County Commissioner Christine Moore. Whoever wins will replace current Mayor Brian Nelson. Polls close tonight at 7 o'clock.
All right, certainly weather did not keep them away from the polls today.
No, better not. Yeah, it was nice and quiet today. Just a few clouds passing through. Temperature's going to get back into the 80s again tomorrow. Once we get to Friday, we're hanging around 90 degrees, and then we're going to jump into the lower 90s Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be flirting with records both of those days. Not the start of summer just yet. We still have some cold fronts to go. We have temperatures back to the mid-80s on Monday. Just a stray opportunity with that front coming through. Most of us are going to be on the drier side. And then by the time we get to Tuesday, we are back into the upper 70s again. So not summer just yet, even though it's going to feel a whole heck of a lot like it once we get towards the weekend. But nonetheless, we're looking pretty good once we get into next week again.
Summer light.
Summer light. There you go. I like it. Summer-ish.
I like it. All right. More news at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app.
Until then, have a good night, everybody. Bye.